Wondery Plus subscribers can listen to Crime and Sports early and ad-free right now. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts.
In the depths of an Atlanta forest, a clash between activists and authorities ends in tragedy. I'm Matthew Scher, and on my new podcast, We Came to the Forest, we expose the hidden truths behind a shootout that left one activist dead and countless lives forever changed. Binge all episodes of We Came to the Forest ad-free on Wondery Plus.
Hello, and welcome to Crime and Sports.
Yay!
Oh, yay indeed, Jimmy. Yay indeed. My name is James Petrogallo. I'm here with my co-host.
I am Jimmy Wisman.
Thank you, folks, so much, an immense amount for joining us today on another just action-packed, death-defying, captivating, insane, sad story of crime and sports. Once again, thank you folks so much. We're going to have a blast as usual. Today's story, Jimmy, is one of these stories where we've had people who get all the way to the mountaintop, and we've had, this is kind of a unique story because this is a guy who by all accounts should be a Hall of Famer and never even made it to the majors, never threw a pitch in the majors, but should be a Hall of Famer. One of the most touted people in the history of baseball.
Really?
Oh my God. And just a life turned into a complete disaster to the point where he never threw a major league pitch.
Never threw a pitch.
So let's talk about this. A major league pitch.
Right, but
So,
there's
insane.
There's a lot of professional athletes that played baseball that really fucked it all up and never threw a professional pitch.
Not ones that were this highly touted, though.
Are you sure?
As a matter of fact, there's only one other human being on Earth in the history of time, space, and baseball who has been so highly touted and never made it to the major leagues.
My
Literally
point is that,
one other man.
Listen, Otis Nixon fucked up. I don't think he threw a pitch either.
He had an at-bat. A lot of them. Good point. But he never set foot in a uniform of a major league team for him, unfortunately.
Joe Nash also never threw a pitch.
Never threw a pitch. No, they tried. Let's get right into it. First of all, thank you guys so much, everybody, for their iTunes reviews this week. As we say all the time, they're monstrously huge for us, so we would appreciate them if you could do that. If you have not yet, it's not a big deal. Give us 5 stars. Tell us you're following instructions, following directions. What you say doesn't matter. It's not for our ego. It's really just to help the show out on a business end and help us go up the charts.
It pushes us, damn it.
It pushes us and iTunes and their funky algorithm, and we all know the dance there.
James and I are like in a grocery cart, and there's a big hill, and you guys are behind us.
You're pushing it.
Up. Your reviews are pushing
they
it.
They push it up
and then
the hill.
There's some hairy fuck on the front pushing back.
There's a lot of those people.
Hairy algorithm pushing back.
There's a lot of those people, and unfortunately, some of them even work for us. So it's really it's really disturbing. So, this is a crazy episode. Do the iTunes reviews. Also, please, if you will, if you want to be one of our fine, amazing, beloved producers, who we're going to talk about later on, people we owe our lives to, you can do that very easily by going to patreon.com/crimeinsports, or you can head over to PayPal, make a one-time donation using the email address, which is...
that's crimeinsports@gmail.com.
You got it, my friends. Or you can just head over to shutupandgivememurder.com, where you can find all the merch, all the links to do the donations, links to follow us on social media, links to the tour stuff for Small Town Murder, which is huge, and we'll tell you all about that at the end of the show.
Though. I mean,
can't wait for that. Can't wait to meet everybody out there in the world.
Get tickets though. Last spring, not last year.
Yeah, spring was like 6 months ago.
Fucking sold out.
Yeah, a lot of them sold out.
You better hurry up and get tickets.
Get your damn tickets now and do that. We're gonna have a special guest in Houston.
Yes,
not like performing on the show, but someone will wave.
She's awesome.
She will say hello and wave.
Yeah.
Yes, and Crime and Sports people know who she is. Small Town Murder people might not, but most of the people who come to the live shows for Small Town Murder, they listen to both. Yeah. If I do like 2 seconds of a Dexter Manley voice, they get excited. I'm like, all right, you motherfuckers know what's going on. You guys are on top of shit.
It's nice to have you guys on board.
Yeah, thank you. So let's get right into it today, though, with this, because all of the live shows, that's going to be crazy, but we have craziness before us right now. Not so much crazy. A sad tale.
I like sad.
I do too, because it's a sad tale where it's a head shaker. Where you're just like, you stupid son of a bitch.
Makes me feel better about my life because I've got no talents and I didn't fuck up so bad.
This is a story that will make everyone out there feel better about their lives.
Good.
Because whether you're an amazing top level in the world talent or not, you're in the same place with this guy. It doesn't fucking matter. So feel good about yourself while you hear about Brien Taylor. Do you know who Brien Taylor is?
No.
Brien McKeever is his middle name, which is the weirdest middle name I've ever heard.
That's a last name.
It's a last name. I feel like it's like probably his mother's last name, maiden name.
That's worse than Taylor. You know what I mean? Like, that's just a dumb middle
McKeever.
name.
Well, Taylor, at least people use as a first name.
Yeah, they do, right.
McKeever, I don't think people use as any name.
I've never heard a Mick as a first name at all.
Mackenzie.
Yeah,
Mackenzie's a first name.
Michaela. But that's not really a Mick.
But not McIver. That's I've never heard of that before. It's Brien Taylor. And by the way, Brien is spelled Brien. It is not spelled correctly.
Okay.
Which is
I want to punch his parents
interesting.
already.
His parents are nice people.
They're just shitty to their kid.
We'll find out all about it. This guy is the ultimate in. They should make like the Scout, like movies like that. Mm-hmm. This is like kind of the guy they're talking about.
Is he super Irish?
No, he's black.
So how the fuck did he get such an Irish name?
I believe it's probably his mother's maiden name, I'm thinking, because
he got Brian's,
apparently an Irish family owned some slaves probably at one point, I would assume.
He got the Irish spelling of Brian minus the O, and then McIver.
He's got the no spelling of Brian. No one spells Brian like that. That's the thing. That's the last, like O'Brien is sometimes spelled like that, but no one's first name is spelled Brian with an IE. No, believe me, I only found a couple. Trust me, I looked. It's very rare.
It's
very fucking rare. Yeah. But yeah, this guy's story. Oh my God! If you grew up and if you're around my age and you grew up in the New York area, you'll really know who this is because he was a top Yankee prospect that we all were like, oh my God, he's going to be the greatest thing ever, and it never fucking happened.
Well, that's depressing.
And it's just known as the saddest, most cautionary tale ever.
Is that when the Yankees sucked too?
Yeah.
Oh, that's fucked up.
Yeah, we'll find it out. Yeah.
God damn it!
This was the glimmer of hope. We'll get all into it. This was a soul crushing. This is a soul-crushing tale for a young James.
That's the equivalent
sad
of
child James here.
It's the equivalent of if the Suns' first-round draft pick. I forget the fucker's name, but he's good.
Yeah,
and if he shits the bed on him, that's going to be fun because the Suns are goddamn garbage.
They finally got a high draft pick, and this is the same thing with the Yankees. Through the '80s, Steinbrenner's a lunatic, and we'll get into all the people he traded draft picks away for, but he would trade for free agents, so he would trade away all his draft picks. So there was a lot of years in the '80s where the Yankees didn't have a pick till the fourth round.
Jeez.
So they had no young players for a long time.
But they had Jose Canseco.
But they had there you go. Then they turned it into where they tried to redo it in the early 90s, and that's how the dynasty team became, because they drafted Bernie Williams and Derek Jeter and Jorge Posada and all these guys.
Figured out that shit didn't work.
Figure out, hey, you can draft guys and then
develop them
rather than just a guy who's been good for 5 years and now you're going to give him $50 million. So this guy was kind of the beginning of that. He was the first Yankee #1 draft pick that they had in a long time and all this shit. So he was the beginning. This was to be the beginning of the Yankee dynasty.
Gotcha.
And the whole dynasty went on and left him behind in a dusty trailer park, as
but
we'll find out.
But he was drafted.
But he was drafted high too. Let's talk about it. He's born December 26th, 1971, in Beaufort, North Carolina.
Okay.
This is a small town in Beaufort, probably. Yeah. Beaufort, North Carolina.
It could be Beaufort.
It could be Beaufort down there. Who the fuck knows? And as we know from Small Town Murder, these town names, it can literally be the name of the town could be John, and that might not be how it's spelled.
Joan.
It might be Johan.
Right.
We call it Johan here. What the fuck's wrong with you? It's like, oh, sorry.
We pronounce the H.
Sorry, was I speaking English? I apologize. I don't know what I was thinking. And
they hold up a sign and go, "How would you pronounce this?" And it's Crohn's disease.
Yeah.
You're like, that's Crohn's, clearly. And they're like, well, that's why our town is pronounced Joan.
Duh.
Right.
Jesus.
Obviously.
You dumb son of a bitch.
Fucking
What the hell's wrong with you? Fucking Yankees coming down here. They can't even read. They say we're stupid and they don't even read words. They ain't lettered.
It's clearly Joan.
Jesus Christ. So, Beaufort, whatever the fuck shithole town in North Carolina that he's from. His parents, his mom is named Betty, Bettie, Betty, and his father is Willie Ray Taylor.
You betcha.
So, at least he's not a junior. We'll give him that. Brien Taylor escaped one fate. So know everyone was holding their breaths going, oh no, is it going to be, don't be Brien Sr.
Willie Ray, though, is a pretty damn good name.
Willie Ray Taylor,
I like
yeah.
that.
He's a tough Southern.
You're fucking right, he is.
Yeah, they were, Betty was, Willie Ray Taylor went to school pre-integration in this area.
This poor guy.
So this guy came up, he came up hard. He came up in segregated North Carolina. So, I mean, he's a tough son of a bitch, and he comes up, and then they have a few kids, and the mother, Betty, was one of the first students, one of the first black students ever at East Catteray High School.
I'm sure that was
I'm sure very comfortable for her. I'm sure. I assume there was welcoming parties. She probably by the end of the day, she couldn't even hold all the gifts and the fruit baskets and the flowers that she was given by everyone.
You're telling me she needed a slave to carry that?
I think she would have needed someone to carry those things. That's what I'm saying. She could pay them. I'm not saying she would enforce labor out of the whole thing.
It's just depressing how those events. Not to get too fucking historical, because clearly I don't know shit about history. But my point is, like,
it's been bandied about that you're possibly a little bit light on your history. We've talked about it. If you're new to the show.
Anytime there's a change in cultural society like that, where something is massively,
people are angry.
Yeah, or not just massively, but it's just the majority approve of it.
Yeah,
it's that minority that fucking makes it horrible. And these poor people probably. I mean, Willie Ray alone.
When you say minority, you mean minority of the majority.
Population,
you
right?
mean the minority of that majority, not the minority population.
No, I mean like the majority is cool with it. The minority is not cool with it, and not the minority in like race. I mean, like the minority amount.
People,
right.
Gotcha. Okay, that had to be clarified because that sounded like you were like the minorities make it worse because they're like they just don't understand things and they're difficult. Yeah, I was like, I think you probably need to clarify quick.
Why does the word minority, we've made that word shitty now.
Yeah, so.
God damn it.
So anyway, that's. No, anytime it is back then, and it's like that fucking all the time here. Yeah. It's like that. I just saw a thing with the fucking asshole Laura Ingraham. Yes, and I believe she's on Podcast One also, which is fucking depressing, and I guarantee you we didn't know that before we signed the fucking deal. But she was saying,
I don't want to be on her team.
No, definitely not. She was angry about, and if you do, you're a douche. I don't care about your politics. That lady's an asshole. I don't care if you're conservative or whatever. That's fine.
Cold-hearted twat.
We're all making fun of athletes. It doesn't matter. But we all know while we make fun of athletes, an asshole is an asshole. And on this show, we call an asshole an asshole. There's no sacred cows. Fuck you. She's a fucking asshole.
She is.
So she was just complaining that legal immigration is destroying the fabric of the country. Because, people are different. If you go to cities, you'll go places and people are speaking other languages. And it's like,
oh my God.
Yeah. They also, you know what else they freaked out about that? Every time people have ever come here. You know what I hear stories about from my grandmother? That exact same thing. Everybody freaked out because everyone hated the fucking Italians when they came over, and they hated the Jews, and they hated the Polacks, and they hated the Germans, and now nobody fucking cares. And those people now hate immigrants. What the fuck is going on?
I like how you said Italians and Germans and then threw a racial slur at Polish people.
Did I? What'd I say?
Polacks.
Oh, did I? All right, sorry. It's fine. Did I say Polacks?
You did.
I don't care. I didn't mean it in a negative way. Back east, you don't pull punches like that. You're Polish, folks. They're fucking Polacks.
It was just awesome.
There's the Polak neighborhoods, the fucking Jew neighborhoods over there. The black guys are over there. Fucking Puerto Ricans are over here. It's just, you just say what is what. It's not a matter of it's bad.
Awesome.
It's I guess that is sort of. I don't look at it like that. You know what? Fuck you, Polish people. Sorry.
There's only like 12 of them anyway.
There's like 12 of them. Right. They're all in Chicago. We'll see you December 14th. Come out.
Get over there to the Vic.
Yeah, come over to the Vic for the Small Town Murder Live show.
My point is that anytime anything just gets passed and we all agree with it, the people that are smart people and realize that that's beneficial for everybody, there's always that little piece that makes it horrible.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And Willie Ray, I mean, granted, people today probably hear it every day, too, but he probably put up with the N-word thrown at him. That's legitimately the only word in the English language that I fucking despise.
It's a shit word.
There's no other word that has no connotation other than demeaning.
Other than something shitty.
That's the only thing that means.
No, it's true.
It's horrible.
It is.
And he probably he definitely dealt with
Polak
that. His whole fucking...
I think we're okay with that.
You motherfucker.
Sorry about that. I couldn't help myself.
He dealt with that his whole life, and that is I can't imagine. I can't even imagine.
No, to come up pre-integration. Yeah. And then, like you said, when it actually became integrated, then it was probably worse. It
probably was amplified.
It was probably worse, exactly, because then people were mad at him for it. So,
exactly. Yeah. As if it's his fucking fault that everything is passed that way in legislation.
And that goes for Betty, too, who actually went, like we said, to the high school.
First person.
One of the first people to go, one of the first black people. And when they got married, too, they're poor bringing up these kids down there. He's a mason and a bricklayer, and he starts out as an apprentice and everything. And
Willie Ray did.
Absolutely. These are hard-working people.
These are babe.
They're trying to raise their and they have a spirit. These people, I gotta give them that I wouldn't have. Of they're super poor. They're raising kids in a 1-room trailer with no phone and 1 light bulb in the entire trailer, and they're still really positive, and they're just like that. It's a trailer,
no dirt,
so there's no dirt. So
they're
living above some of these people that we've talked about, like Toe Nash and who are some of the others? Jesus Christ,
Frank Johnson's brother.
Fucking
Johnson.
Eddie Johnson. Yeah. Other people, too. There was a few people that grew up with dirt floors, but this is the Willie Mays Aikens dirt floor.
That's right.
Dirt floor, no plumbing. So this is what we're looking at here.
Florida playing in the dirt.
Yeah. It was, man. And then playing in the cocaine. So Willie Ray, he's a mason, like we said. He's a bricklayer, and he's a hard-working dude that works. When you're laying bricks in North Carolina, that's work, man. That's hot, humid, sticky. That's
easy.
That's working right there. And the mother, Betty, Jesus Christ, if possible, I think she had a worse job.
Oh, no.
She was a crab picker at the seafood plant down the road. She'd pick out like 30 pounds of crab meat a day out of the crab.
Okay.
And she said basically for years her hands didn't reek of crab. And she couldn't get it out of her fingers.
Smell. Her hands. Her husband was a bricklayer, and I'll bet his hands were less cut up than hers.
That
with
those
those
shells.
So sharp.
Yep, those shells. And she said it was just constant. I mean, she had it just baked into her head, ground into her hands. There's no way to get rid of the smell of crab.
It sounded like she plucked them out of the basket. Out of the
well, yeah,
right.
Yeah, this one looks good.
Right,
this is perfect for
Give
dinner.
This to somebody to meat.
No,
you know what I mean? She was a meter.
She was actually digging. She's a crab digger.
That sounds horrible.
So I would fucking say so. So into this household is Brien. He's born. He is named after James Caan in Brian's song.
What?
The movie. He's named after Brian Piccolo, the Bears running back who died of cancer.
Except a different spelling.
Except they fucked up the spelling, because that is not how, and they said that they just misspelled his name.
Really?
They didn't I guess there was no Google. What's that movie, Brian? So, okay, look it up. They were just like, that's that movie we saw 2 years ago. That's when it came out. Sure, yeah, Brian. It's with an E. Yeah, sure, it's an E. I don't know.
How do you spell Brian? I don't know. Ask a Mick.
However the fuck, I was going to say, however the fuck Irish people spell that shit, I don't fucking know. So... He's named after that, though. He's the second of 4 children. Brien is into this tiny, tiny trailer. And this
4 there.
4 kids, very poor, 1 light bulb, 1-room trailer. This is rough shit. Mm-hmm. They said this one article talked about it's just mobile homes, but it's not like a trailer park.
They're just plotted out there,
stuck next to each other. Yeah, tons of them. It's kind of crowded in there. It's pretty rough. Also, it's not no one has any money basically. But at 5 years old is when he first starts playing baseball. Okay. When he first starts throwing a baseball, and right away, literally right away at 5, he threw the ball like a freak.
Really?
People were like, holy shit, this kid can fucking throw. Yeah. And he's left-handed, too.
He didn't break his arm or some shit?
No, he didn't fall out of a tree or get struck by lightning or anything like that, or, get molested by a coach that gave him special powers. A priest molested me, and now I can throw hard. I don't know what happened. I'm psychologically ruined, but man, my arm.
All that anger and repressed fucking psychology.
But people were telling him from 5 years old that he could go to the major leagues. That's how hard he throws. Okay. Which is pretty weird for a 6-year-old to hear. So from 5, 6 years old on, that's all he ever thought he was doing, wanted to do. It's all anybody ever told him. Just, Brien throws harder than everybody else, so he's going to be a pitcher, and that's all there is to it. His mother, Betty, says, quote, he overcame some obstacles. By the way, Betty was one of 2 black students at the high school when she went there, which is fucking crazy.
I mean, in upper class neighborhoods, it's still the same.
Yeah. No shit.
Still shitty.
Still shitty. He said, quote, he overcame some obstacles. It wasn't like he was out there to prove anything about how good he was. It just seemed like we were patient, and then one day it happened. He could have broken that arm or been seriously hurt, but the good Lord, the good Lord just took him and let it happen.
All right.
So she's just
she's got her faith.
She's got her faith, and they just and they didn't like coddle him or anything. They couldn't really coddle him, but I mean, he was just. Down there, it was like, Brien can throw real hard, but that's not going to get you anything down there. There was just there wasn't anything to get. Yeah. Everybody was poor as fuck, pretty much. So he comes on. But everyone knows of his athletic ability, right away. There's a football coach there named Richard Bailey who was hanging around the baseball team and stuff too at that time
for the high school team.
Yeah, for the high school team. He said that at 14 years old, Brien was already throwing 90 miles an hour, which is fucking really hard. That's a major league level when you're 14, because then you're still probably gonna have a growth spurt. You're gonna figure out how to throw it correctly and
control and know how to really put that emphasis on the ball. That's pretty incredible.
It's pretty wild. Just natural talent. This guy says, quote, Brien was the most talented kid I ever saw. It's a shame things didn't work out the way they should have.
Foreshadowing.
That is, I wish I could have that long of an episode title, because the title should be of this show, Brien was the most talented kid I ever saw. It's a real shame things didn't work out the way they should have, because that's what every human being that ever encounters him says. Man, I've never seen anybody like that. Real shame.
Damn shame.
Damn shame. It's so fucking sad, man. This is the most fucking sorry story. Everybody, his nickname in high school was Smooth. Everybody called him Smooth. I remember the hearing that, the reading about that when I was 12, and they drafted him too.
Who was the other one whose nickname was something like Corliss Williamson?
Wow.
They called him Silk.
Oh wow,
because
Corliss
he was
Williamson.
smooth as silk.
Yeah,
James.
yeah.
I bet there's a crime and sports story about that guy.
Well, you know what? Maybe we'll find it. We'll take a fucking look at that.
He was kind of a piece of shit and a washout.
Yeah, he was. He was. Now that I think about it, Arkansas.
Yeah. Damn right.
So, Jesus,
that's
man.
Weird. Sorry.
No. It's a fine. It's a fine aside. That's what people come here for. I feel like they come here for the deep cuts. They really do. I feel like that's everyone's got. We do so many little deep cuts that I feel like we hit a nerve for a few people on all of them, and
people
collectively
that are nerds in one area or another.
Yeah, we try to hit that, whether it's a little weird wrestling reference or a strange old 1992 basketball.
We
college,
tease that we might know as much as them about something.
It's possible.
You probably know as much about wrestling as some of these nerds. I fucking don't. They can rattle off the names. I'll be like, fuck ones. Yeah, I know who that is. I know what they look like.
If they haven't performed in 20 years, then but other than that, I have no idea. I don't know who that guy is.
I got Colt Cabana and Cassius now. That's about it.
Yeah.
That's about as far as I go.
We like those guys.
Those guys are amazing.
They're really fucking cool dudes.
Great dudes.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Well, I don't think Cassius said. Well, you should watch him. He's on NXT. Yeah. Nice guy to us. Anyway, don't take it out on him, WWE, but he's nice to us.
No, it's not his fault.
It's not his fault. He chides us at he says, you be nice to Vince McMahon. He's a good person. No, I'm just kidding. He just said he liked the show.
He's never said anything like that.
No. We hang out with the guy. He just sent us the things. Funny show. Thanks a lot. That's all. So, anyway.
Cassius Ohno. Keep going, buddy.
Anyway, so this guy, athletically, he really was. His wind-up, too. He had a real smooth delivery. He was just... It didn't look like, some of these guys that throw real hard, and even some that don't throw super hard. I guess for a normal person, it's all super hard, but they kind of look like they're really putting everything into it. It's like a herky-jerky. Like, this guy just looked like he was just, he's going to toss it in there, and 100 miles an hour came out. It was insane. He ran a 10-700-yard dash back then, which is pretty goddamn fast, especially for a guy who's 6'4". Right. He's a big, tall.
That's a big dude.
Yeah, he's a big. He came in. So he's like my height, 6'4", 195. He's like my exact height and weight when he was first drafted in baseball here. He could dunk a basketball really well. He had really good jump. He could hop like a motherfucker. But it was his arm, though. That's the thing, because he threw like nobody's business. Also, he's a hard working kid. He would work sometimes if he needed, like if he wanted to get a new pair of sneakers or something like that. He'd work a couple of weeks with his dad laying bricks part time.
Hasn't he heard of
and
boosters?
Shit like that?
What's he doing?
That's what I mean. Down here, there's no extras to get. I don't feel like the boosters are like, you come over over to my house. I'll give you a good meal. I feel like that. My wife's going to cook you up something real good.
Come to my house.
I
got some bricks to lay for you, boy.
Let me tell you something.
I mean, probably would say boy.
Yeah, probably. Hopefully it's another black guy anyway. But he said, have I showed you a picture of my daughter? That's the enticement. There's no money in it for him or anything like that. He's like, you can go out with my daughter. She's only 12, but I'll tell you what.
She's anything like her mother. One day she's going to be hot as shit.
She's going to be something else for about 5 years, and then it's all going to fall apart. But you get everything in that 5 years you can, boy. Let me tell you something. So,
do it every day.
He worked in the kitchen of a restaurant, the sanitary restaurant, which sounds like they're just trying to convince you that it's not filthy and it's okay to eat here.
We separate the chicken and beef.
Listen,
we swear.
It's sanitary.
It's on the sign.
Like the old one closed down from the Board of Health and they reopened a new restaurant. They're like, it's the sanitary. We swear it's not the same people. It's not. It's just
the other one was just the restaurant.
Yeah,
now it's the sanitary restaurant.
They said that he would go out back on the dock and throw potatoes at seagulls that were flying around and hit them and knock them out of the sky, to where the restaurant manager would be like, let's go, Brien, throw some. They would it was like a spectacle they all wanted to see. They'd be like,
that's awesome.
Hey, it's slow. Let's fucking take Brien outside. Let him throw some. And everyone would watch and be like, holy shit, this is incredible.
That's awesome.
So he was like a freak of nature, the way he could throw. His kitchen manager, Dave West, said, quote, he had the best arm I've ever seen.
That's amazing.
Now, coming from a kitchen manager in the restaurant game, that's something. Everybody he works with is from South America. He sees a lot of good arms. A lot of good arms. He's like, this guy's the fucking best. I'll tell you what, I get Dominicans in here all the time, and no one's better than this kid.
See, that's the difference between poverty and rich people, is that is a thing that made him realize that he could play by throwing and hitting the birds. And then the rich man, Randy Johnson, throws and hits a bird, and he goes, call it a career. I'm done.
It's over, man. Yeah, it's been done.
That's pretty awesome.
A lot of Randy Johnson comparisons.
Really?
Because Randy Johnson
look at this.
He was drafted like 2 years before Brian Taylor. Yeah. So there's a lot of Randy, because they're both 100-mile-an-hour throwing lefties. So there's a lot of, and Brien was considered to be the better pitcher.
Really?
He was considered the guy who's going to be much better than that Randy Johnson fucking.
I can almost guarantee
flake out there in Montreal. Oh well, yes. You could take Brien Taylor's asshole and sew it to the middle of his fucking forehead, and he'd be better looking than Randy Johnson. Put it that way.
Randy Johnson had a bunch of assholes all over his face.
I'm talking a fucked up asshole too. One that's been through the mill.
A prolapsed
one that's just been fucking worked. Just worked over. One something like that. So now that he's got the approval of his kitchen manager on his throwing ability, which everybody goes for, in high school, his high school career, his senior year, he allowed 18 hits.
Really?
The whole fucking year.
The whole year he
allowed 18 hits, which is pretty goddamn impressive. And I assume most of those were probably accidents. You know, the guy swung with his eyes closed and was like, oh my God, it's a dribbler. And he ran real hard and beat it out.
Or he saw the wrong sign from the pitcher.
That too, yeah.
Catcher,
I don't even think they gave him signs.
Probably
they were just throw 100 miles an hour.
Clearly you're just going to rip it in here, so do it.
And this isn't a league that has a ton of other prospects. Like we've talked about some of these guys. We'll be like, at his high school, this guy and this guy. Like my friend Rod Beck was like, he had this plaque where he was the best. Him and Todd Zeal were the two best offensive high school players in Los Angeles County that year.
He went to high school with Todd Zeal?
No, he played against him in L.A. County.
That's amazing.
And Rod, who ended up being a pitcher, a relief pitcher too, who you wouldn't see pick up a bat very often, was him and Todd Zeal, who turned out to be a major leaguer for 15 years and a pretty decent hitter, were the two top top hitting high school players in the league. Yeah. So there's places like that, like Florida, LA, they're big pockets with tons of major leaguers, and you'd be like, oh, he played against this guy and this guy and this guy. Yeah. He played against no one, Brien Taylor.
Nothing.
Nobody's from here. Yeah. These are kids who, none of these kids are going to play in the majors. They're all going to go lay bricks and work at whatever and drive trucks.
Scouts didn't take that into account when scouting him?
They did, but you don't take numbers. You take 100 miles an hour into account. And whether you're pitching against a 14-year-old who's going to who's going to sell lawn furniture in a few years, or a major leaguer, 100 miles an hour is 100 miles an hour.
That's a good point.
It's just hard to hit no matter what. But there is no competition either. So it's not like he's pitching against people like that. So you got to take that into account. We do here in hindsight. Mm-hmm. As we know, hindsight is the way of crime in sports.
Yeah, it is surely. It is much better in 2020.
It's so crystal clear. So He, in his entire high school career, he went 29-6. 29-6 with 476 strikeouts.
What?
That is absolutely fucking obscene.
You'd think that's just a typo.
That's in the major leagues, the record, I believe, unless it's been broken in the last few years when I've been too busy to pay attention, but it used to be, it was, I think, 383 Nolan Ryan in a year, in a season, and that was like, he started like 38 games or some shit. This is like pretty much the same amount of starts. This guy has 476 strikeouts. So he's just blowing away frightened children with this, and a 1.25 ERA. So, I mean, high school wise, you just go, fuck, this guy's got the goods. Now we're going to hear from Scott Boras. If you don't know who Scott Boras is, he's one of the biggest agents in the world. He's the guy who drives up salaries. He's the guy who said, okay, what does that guy usually get? 500,000? Well, he should get 4 million now. Like, he's that guy. People are like, fuck. He's the guy who got the first $100 million salary contracts in baseball. He's the guy that's constantly driving the salaries. He signs guys who are very talented that people want, and then he does not take less money than he says they're worth. That's why everyone hated J.D. Drew when he came up, because of Scott Boras. Because Scott Boras had him not sign a fucking contract.
Brilliant.
It's a big, he's good at that. So Boras finds Brien Taylor and gives him some attention early on. So right away, he's going to make money. Boras said, quote, I first heard about Brien when he was a junior in junior high school when he was a junior in high school in 1990. I went down and watched him pitch. He just had an electric arm. A lot of kids in high school throw hard, maybe 92, 93. At that time, he was throwing right around that. But the key thing about Brien was the late movement of the ball. He threw downhill. It just got to the plate and exploded.
Wow.
And that's another thing. Some guys throw a flat ball.
Right.
I mean, there's guys like Roberto Hernandez who threw 100 miles an hour and threw it completely fucking flat. I mean, flat as a plane. This guy's got movement.
A slider in fucking high school.
Well, it helps if you're a lefty because your ball has natural movement anyway. By the way, people, and I said this last time and I didn't give you any, people have asked for Rod stories. And I have since I mentioned Roberto Hernandez, a quick Roberto Hernandez story with Rod.
Great.
Now, Rod's he was very, very baseball smart. Everything, I've sat with Rod for 3 hours at a time just talking about like strategy of why you want to throw a guy a curveball now, shit like that. Like that's how intricate he was about it, and he loved talking about it. And he was telling me one time that Gary Sheffield, the beast of a hitter, for if you don't know who he is, he was just an awesome power hitter, and he had the quickest bat probably ever. He got around on a ball. If you watched him, he would have a pretty sizable bat too, and he would be swinging it back and forth.
Like
try to do that the way Sheffield did it. You 3 swings in your hands, you can't even hold it anymore. This guy was so strong, and he could get around on an inside fastball like nobody's business. And Rod was telling Roberto Hernandez, who was going to go in the game, he said, fucking keep that shit from going inside. Don't stay away from the inside part of the plate on Sheffield. He'll kill you. And Roberto Hernandez was cocky and goes, motherfucker, I throw 100. He goes, I'll throw that shit right by him. And he goes, all right. Rod's like, all right, they'll throw it inside to him, then see what happens. So he said, I think it was the third pitch of the at-bat. He threw 100 inside, and Sheffield hit it like 500 feet out of the park. And he said,
from the top of his hands,
absolutely fucking mauled this thing. And he said he got back to the dugout, and the guy was just like, Roberto Hernandez was like, holy shit. Like, I thought you were full of shit. Oh, my God. That's insane. So little things like that.
That's why Sheffield made so much money.
Yeah, that's why, because he could get around on that pitch like nobody's fucking business, man. So anyway, Boras also said, I watched him pitch one game, and then I watched him pitch another. I began the process of talking to his mother, Betty, who was a delightful lady. She worked at a seafood operation where she cracked crab. She removed the crab meat from the crab shells. Mr. Taylor was a bricklayer. He had the hands of a bricklayer, a big, strong man. So she invited me to come to their house and talk to Brien. I remember the road to their house. They had a double-wide trailer. I went in there in the middle of the summer. It was really hot and humid. There was no air conditioning. There was a single light source, a wire that hung down from the roof with a light bulb.
No.
That's how he was living at that moment. A wire dangling down like a hostage room.
Right.
Like somebody, like you're going to be murdered and tortured. You're
about to be waterboarded.
Absolutely.
It's terrifying.
It's going to swing back and forth, and oh man, blood's going to get on it and stain part of the room red. Very fucking frightening.
You got to hold it next to your face so that people can see you when
really
you speak.
Scary. Hold it under you so you get that shadow. So he said, quote, "The one thing I knew, there was no one else in the draft that was close to this young man's ability. That was clear cut. I had watched all the players. Mike Kelly was at Arizona State. I watched him play. It was not even close if you were going to go out and pick the best player in the draft. Brien Taylor was so far above everyone else."
Wow.
Because that was the other guy the Yankees were looking at was a guy named Mike Kelly, who was an ASU. I don't remember what position he played, but he was a hitter.
I've never heard of him, so
it didn't work out.
Clearly didn't do great.
It didn't work out. Really,
ASU generally doesn't churn out the great athletes.
Well, baseball, they had a tradition of it, though. Barry Bonds, Reggie Jackson.
Yeah. Jackson went there, too.
Fuck
That's
yeah,
right.
he did. Yeah, ASU is considered like a kind of a place, a legendary place that produces hitters.
Not anymore, because the blowjobs quit.
25 years ago, yeah. Once the blowjobs went away, then it really ended the whole thing.
When it was a party school, it was fucking, they were churning out baseball players.
Yeah.
They didn't get many football players either, though.
No.
There's a couple, maybe.
Yeah,
I can't think of many.
It's sports-wise, they just haven't.
It's just depressing.
Hasn't caught on over there. No, it's hard to be a fan.
It's generally, what do they churn out? Fucking nothing.
I don't know. At this point, I have no idea. Syphilis, chlamydia,
and Jimmy Kimmel.
Yeah, I have no idea. So
that's it.
Behind the closed doors of government offices and military compounds, there are hidden stories and buried secrets from the darkest corners of history. From covert experiments pushing the boundaries of science to operations so secretive they were barely whispered about. Each week, on Redacted, Declassified Mysteries, we pull back the curtain on these hidden histories. 100% true and verifiable stories that expose the shadowy underbelly of power. Consider Operation Paperclip, where former Nazi scientists were brought to America after World War II, not as prisoners, but as assets to advance U.S. intelligence during the Cold War. These aren't just old conspiracy theories. They're thoroughly investigated accounts that reveal the uncomfortable truths still shaping our world today. The stories are real. The secrets are shocking. Follow Redacted, Declassified Mysteries on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen to Redacted early and ad-free right now on Wondery Plus.
Everyone out there should listen to Small Town Murder. You really should, mainly because you never know who's next door. And that's the point of this show, really. You never know who is next door. You never know what's going to happen on Small Town Murder. That's what makes it so wonderful. The only thing you do know is that people are going to die, and we're probably going to make jokes about it. That's it. That's all we can promise you. We dig into these towns. We see what makes them tick, from local legends to scandals they may have had. And, of course, the biggest scandals of all, horrible murders that take place there. And we put our, what I feel is a completely appropriate comedic spin on the whole thing. And you know you need a laugh right now. So get in there, listen to Small Town Murder, follow Small Town Murder on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen to Small Town Murder early and ad-free right now on Wondery Plus.
Now back to the show.
June 1991 is the 1991 amateur draft. Now, the last time a high school pitcher had been the first number one overall pick was 1973. Okay. It's the last time.
Who the hell was that?
A guy named David Clyde for the Texas Rangers. They have not, pitchers generally, they try to, college is a better thing. Like even Roger Clemens, I think they got him from Texas, University of Texas. They want to see a pitcher go on the next level and develop a little bit. But there's something about a lefty that throws 100 miles an hour that's coming out that's just, man, there's something about that.
Take a gamble.
Gamble. And I'll tell you later on the list of people that George Steinbrenner has gambled on.
Oh, no.
But if he sees talent and he's just betting on it, that's all there is to it. He's like, I don't give a fuck. I'll bet on the talent and let the chips fall where they may. If I lose a couple $1 million, I lose a couple $1 million. If it worked out, I would have had the greatest guy in the world. That's the way he looks at it. So, I mean, that's not my money, so fuck it.
Or make hundreds of millions.
You never know.
I mean, Jeter worked out.
Yeah.
That guy made him a fortune.
Steinbrenner, love him or hate him, is one of those guys, like I said, very easily to hate, even for Yankee fans. But one thing about him is, I've always said this, he would rather lose $10 million and win the World Series than make $10 million and lose in Game 7 of the World Series and go that much closer. He would rather lose the fucking money and win than make the money and lose.
Sure.
Whereas I don't think there's a lot of owners that are like that.
I don't know.
Not a lot of them.
I like his thinking because that's balls.
He doesn't care about that.
That's competitive.
He wants to win. It's not about, I want to buy a yacht and I want to make sure I make the profit like a lot of these fucking owners are.
He's also a hideously ugly man.
Oh, so. He's a horrible person.
He's a ghoul.
And wait till you hear stupid shit that he said and ruin this whole thing. He cost his own team hundreds of thousands of dollars here because he's a fucking idiot. But Brian Cashman, who has been the Giants, the Yankees general manager forever now, and his name is spelled correctly, Brien with an A. He was the assistant farm director in 1991.
Really?
So yeah, he was making his way up through the ranks. I believe he started out, his dad knew Steinbrenner and might have worked for Steinbrenner in another business, I believe. And so Cashman was like, Steinbrenner was like, I'll take him in and he can work his way up. And I believe he started out as a security guard or some shit.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and when they let him work, I mean, he was always tapped that he was going to work his way up, but he worked his way up the hard way.
That's how it should be.
Yeah,
in every fucking business, that's how it should be.
Yeah, there's
no reason somebody should go from CEO to new job as a CEO. No. You want to be the CEO of that company? Fucking, you better grab a broom, motherfucker.
Steinbrenner died, and guess who runs it? All of his shitty kids, who only give a fuck about money and suck. And that's why it's hard to root for them anymore. I love them, and I love the organization, and I love all that shit, but all the heart's gone. Yeah. It's just fucking gone. It's just...
They didn't fucking come up in it.
At least Steinbrenner was crazy. You know, that was something to be laughed at least, or something, some kind of personality. Anyway, so Cashman said that, quote, Bill Livesey is one of the greatest scouts of our era. He told me the best amateur position player he ever saw was A-Rod, and the best pitcher he ever saw was Brian Taylor. So he had it right with A-Rod anyway. The guy has like 700 home runs, so pretty good as far as a scout goes. Not bad. Once again, you can hate him all you want, but pretty good player.
He's bedded more women than he's hit home runs, too.
No, it's not bad. Yeah, no shit. Gene Michael, who was the Yankees general manager then and who worked for the team forever, fucking Stick there, that's his nickname. He said, quote, his arm slot was exactly like Randy Johnson's, not sidearm, but very low 3/4. They had the exact same arm slot, only Brian Taylor threw a little bit harder.
Interesting.
So that's what he said in 1991. He's looking at him and Randy and he's going, this kid's, I mean, they look similar, but I like this kid better than Randy fucking Johnson.
How about that?
That's incredible.
How about that? You like this kid better and you still end up with Randy Johnson eventually anyway.
Yeah, that's funny
crazy.
In the end. Yeah. Well, they see talent. They want talent. They want a guy who throws 100. They think that puts asses in seats and works.
Sure in the fuck does.
It does. Scott Boras said, quote, I remember Brian threw a pitch in a high school game. It started in and moved out, and it still stayed in the strike zone. The catcher completely missed it, and the umpire called it strike 3, and appropriately so. He was a true phenom. I've seen a lot of talent now, 35 drafts. Every year I watch, and I've never seen someone like him. So this is what they're saying now even about it. The Bill Livesey guy, who is the scouting director, said, quote, he had everything you're looking for: size, strength, athleticism, body type, loose live arm, the ability to spin the ball. I think the high school game I was at, he topped out at 98 miles an hour. Jesus. It could have been 88, the ease in which he threw. You couldn't tell how hard he was throwing. He threw so easily with so little effort. He was the total package.
I wish I was good at something like that.
Fuck, can you imagine someone saying anything about you that great?
No.
Fuck, I mean, the people on Twitter are nice to us. They say they like the show and shit, but they're not like, these are the greatest comedians of all time. And they shouldn't say that. Please don't say that. We'll say, no, we're not.
They're doing terrible. It so easily. You can't even tell how great they are.
You can't tell that fucking James doesn't sleep. You really can't. It's effortless. You can't tell that Jimmy just came from cleaning storm shit up for the electric company to come record this and didn't sleep well and moved last night. You can't tell that. It's fucking effortless. Jesus Christ.
Can't even tell that Jimmy just left a fucking budget store buying shit for his for his new fucking bathroom.
You can't tell that these two want to strangle people because they constantly have their fucking hands in their pockets and fuck us over like goddamn Motown singers.
You have no idea.
No idea.
They do it so effortlessly.
Fucking effortless. It's pretty impressive. I gotta say, I'm impressed with us. We'll say that. That's all we would. That's the only compliment we want from now on. Just say that's effortless.
They're effortless.
It looks so easy. It's really funny, but it looks like it could just be marginally funny. That's how little effort it seems like, but it's hilarious anyway. Same thing they said.
They blow themselves away.
Oh, man. That's awesome. 1991 draft. Here we go. Number 1 overall. New York Yankees have a number 1 overall pick. Holy shit. Finally, after all these years of having Dick, and they choose Brien Taylor out of East Carteret High School, or Carteret High School in North Carolina. Number 2 overall is the Atlanta Braves. They pick Mike Kelly, the aforementioned Mike Kelly from Arizona State University. Number 3 overall, the Twins pick David McCarthy. I think I remember slightly, from Stanford University. Number 4, the St. Louis Cardinals picked Dimitri Young, who we know who he is. He came up and was a player for a long time.
It's very interesting, Major League drafts, because it's not like any other sport.
No,
baseball,
it's
I mean, football,
who knows?
Even hockey.
No, it's so different.
Drafts,
it's so different.
People are recognizable.
Yeah, it's you're going on like physical talent, and this is a skill. It's just, you could be the most physically gifted person in the world. Doesn't mean you can hit a baseball.
Yeah,
like
it's the hardest fucking thing in the world.
It is
to
the
do.
hardest thing. It's a skill that has to be honed and blah blah blah. Even basketball, like you get like I remember Charles Barkley when he stopped playing for like after he was retired for like 2 years. He went on the court. It was a big joke because he went out and the first shots he took, and he hadn't taken a shot in like a year and a half.
Yeah.
And the first shot he threw like 3 air balls, and they looked awful. They looked awful. But 5 minutes later, he was hitting every shot. He was in the rhythm.
Yeah.
In baseball, you can't not hit a baseball for a year and a half, step in, and in 5 minutes be crushing balls. It will take you a while to get.
I bet Barry Bonds couldn't hit shit right now.
He probably couldn't hit a fucking thing if he tried. It's a skill.
Yeah.
So a lot of these guys don't make it. It's a total crapshoot. You never know. That's why baseball has so many rounds in their draft, because we're going to draft 50 guys and maybe 6 of them will come to the majors someday. It's like making movies or TV shows. Like we're going to make 30 pilots and hopefully one will make the air.
That's right.
And all that money we spend on all those 30 pilots will make back, and then some with one. That's what they're trying to do with baseball.
Flush it for now.
Yeah. Every 6 guys, you hope one of them's worth the shit. So Dimitri Young, then guys, Sean Estes is number 11, who ended up being a major leaguer for a long time. Doug Glanville's number 12.
Great pitcher.
Number 13, Yankees could have had Manny fucking Ramirez.
Oh my God,
RBI
really?
machine for 15, 18 years. Right after that, Cliff Floyd, another great player. He played forever for the Expos, the Mets, the Marlins.
The Expos
big lefty. He's broke now. He's on that broke documentary.
Great.
Yeah,
I'm in.
Made $100-something million and pissed it all away.
Fuck out.
Pissed it all away.
Amazing.
That's like some of the guys where it's like you made $6 million. You could piss $6 million away.
Pretty easily.
You made $105 million and you don't have shit to. Wow, you're an asshole at that point. That's too much. The
Expos to me are the Clippers of the majors, where I probably know 10 of them. You know what I mean?
Like I remember.
You got Marquise Grissom.
Yeah, Lionel DeShields. Otis Nixon.
Yeah, and Nixon. Yeah.
Everybody started there. Larry Walker, Pedro Martinez, Randy Johnson, all these guys. Andre Dawson, Gary Carter.
Is Gomez there?
I don't know.
I can't. Maybe not. Fuck.
They had everybody though.
And then the Blue Jays are very similar. I can name a few more.
They'll
Blue
sign
Jays
a guy once in a while.
Right.
Who
it's
else?
just fascinating that you put a baseball team in Canada, and I don't give a fuck.
It just loses all. Well, Christ, the Expos only had French language radio. They didn't even have TV. So Cliff Floyd, Pokey Reese, who played forever, Aaron Steele, who played for a long time in this draft. So some good guys. Scott Hatteberg, major leaguers. NFL drafted players in this, because a lot of times they'll draft. In baseball, you have so many draft picks, you can just take a chance and draft somebody in the 25th round that's probably not going to play baseball.
Phillip Rivers did that too, right?
Tons of guys. We'll talk about Tony Banks, the old the Rams quarterback there. He was drafted by the Twins in the 10th round. Rob Johnson, who was the quarterback for the Bills for a long time, and he was a backup and then he was a starter. They gave him a big contract. He was signed by the Twins also. They like the football players.
Frank arms, that's why.
Yeah, Steve McNair.
Holy shit!
Aaron McNair, drafted in the 35th round by the Mariners.
Tragedy, that guy.
Yeah, that's a sad one.
Hey.
O.J. McDuffie, the wide receiver for the Dolphins, drafted by the Angels. That's a few of them there.
That's awesome. Those facts are fucking awesome.
Aren't they fun?
I love those.
Those are good shit. I like shit like that, like weird shit like that. Now, Boris, quote from him at this point. We're going to get a lot of quotes back and forth about the negotiation process, because this is fucking hilarious. And Boris took baseball negotiations to the next level with this whole thing. Boris says, quote, "Because we were involved early, we went to his teachers in high school and we talked to his high school counselor. We then talked to teachers at Lewisburg Junior College at North Carolina. We really wanted to set forth a plan where Brien was going to be able to execute a college education, knowing under the rules that junior college players can be drafted every year. So we assumed that if the deal didn't get done with the Yankees, it would have certainly got done the next year. The minute he attended class, the Yankees would have lost all rights to sign him." So that's what college players can do. That's why it's risky when they draft a guy. You never know what he's going to do. They'll draft guys every year in college, and maybe he'll drop out this year and play, or maybe not. So it just gives you rights to them for a year. So if you draft a high school player, you have the rights to sign him, but if he goes to class in college, you lost your rights. You just wasted your draft pick.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So they've got they got to declare for the draft, though, right? Or do they just like wander around and be like, "We drafted you"?
That's the thing. You don't have to declare. No, they can draft you.
Really?
Yeah. Doesn't mean you have to play for them, but they can draft you.
So if I go out to a baseball park and just start whipping balls, and let's say I'm good at it, and some scout walks by and goes, "Sign that motherfucker."
Let's say you have the same name as somebody, and they sign you by accident, or they draft you by accident. Whatever that team is has the baseball rights to you for a year.
That's awesome.
Unless you go to college, and then they don't anymore.
I hope somebody makes a big fucking
Maybe they'll
mistake.
Fuck it up. Fingers crossed.
I could use a fluke paycheck.
That's what I mean. That would be great. Listen to this one. Gene Michael said, quote, "We felt we were going to pay him around $750,000.
That's great.
I'll take that.
Yeah.
Now, they said, fuck no. The first offer from the Yankees was $300,000.
Okay.
They waited 3 months and they said, fuck no, and sat back for 3 months and didn't sign shit.
Do you know how many trailers you can buy with that?
But they knew what he's worth. Number one overall, and it's the Yankees, and it's Steinbrenner, and they know they have money to pay him if they want. So George at this point was banned. I don't know if you remember this, but George Steinbrenner was banned from doing anything for the team, banned from his own team for a couple years for some shit he pulled with Dave Winfield, which we'll talk about in a minute because it's fucking hilarious.
Dave Winfield played for the Yankees?
For years in the 80s.
How come I don't remember that?
I don't know, the whole 80s. He was one of my idols when I was a child.
Maybe that's why, because I remember him with the Blue Jays. No,
he was
the Angels?
Angels, Blue Jays, Angels, Blue Jays, Padres. He played for a bunch of teams forever.
I did have those.
Dave Winfield was the first time I really figured out what racism was.
Really?
Seriously, because my grandfather was racist. He's this old fucking guinea barber, and he was racist, and I loved Dave Winfield. I fucking loved him. He wore 31, and I put 31 on my wiffle bat, and on my little Yankee hat, I put 31 on it. I love him, and Don Mattingly were my two favorite players in the world, and I loved Mattingly too. But Winfield had a cannon for an arm in right field, and I love a guy with a good arm. Yeah. So I just loved him, and he was a power hitter and everything. So I remember telling my grandfather, "Oh yeah, I love Dave Winfield. What the hell you got that number on your bat for?" And I said, "It's Dave Winfield. I love Dave Winfield." And he goes, "What the hell do you like that spook for? You should like Don Mattingly." And I went, "What?"
Grandpa?
And I was just like, I didn't understand. I was like, but he's really good. I don't care what I'm fucking 5 in the 80s. What the fuck do I care? I'm like, I don't care. It never meant a thing. And I was just like, whoa, that's super weird. I'm like, but he's really good. Nah, I just wave him away. It's like, I like Don Mattingly too.
It's because Grandpa was a barber and he didn't know how to cut the guy's hair.
That's true, yeah.
That's what happened.
Came into my shop and I said, what the hell am I supposed to do with this?
Fuck's a fade.
I fucked up his whole head and he got mad at me, and it's a big thing. He fucked up Dave Winfield's head, and I got mad at Dave Winfield.
I'm not good with. I don't have a protractor to put the good afro on him, so he was pissed at me.
Yeah, it's fucking unreal, man. So that's
the A's
how I
too.
Yes, No, I don't think Winfield ever played. Started out with the Padres.
God damn it.
Winfield, I believe, was drafted in 3 sports.
Okay.
He was drafted in baseball, football, and basketball.
All right.
And he never
That's fucking amazing.
And he didn't even play those. But they just drafted him because he was such an amazing athlete. Yeah. Well, in the mid-70s, he was 6'6", 200-something pounds, and was an incredible athlete with an amazing arm. Like, that guy could do anything he wants, they were saying. So George Steinbrenner, through the press at this point, because he's banned, tells the press that they better fucking sign him, the team that he's not supposed to interfere with. He said they better sign him. Anyone who lets him go is an idiot and they should be shot. Wow. That's what he said. Or they ought to be shot was his exact quote. Anybody who lets him go.
That's a bit much.
So he put a little pressure on his organization to sign him. Like, George is, when he gets back off suspension, he's going to be pissed if we don't sign him. Yeah. He's going to look for heads. Now, Betty Taylor said, quote, "Before Brien signed, we were poor, but we weren't unhappy. We were a very happy family, so it's easy to come back to this." So he was like, so they weren't afraid of them pulling the deal off the table.
I just remember Dave Winfield playing with Deion Sanders, right? Same team.
Yankees, late 80s.
Yeah.
Because we drafted him in the 90s. But Winfield might have left right then,
I can see it, though.
I don't think it happened.
I can see it sounds
close.
terrible, but I see them both with drippy Jerry curls.
No, that's so close.
I see it.
No, I don't think so. I think Winfield was gone. We'll find out. I think he was gone. We drafted Dion in 89 or 90, I think. 89, the Yankees drafted Dion.
I swear I see them both with those fucking stupid jackets.
That's possible.
The dumb jacket with the squishy shit on the wrist.
Yeah, the satin ones.
Right.
That's right at the end of Winfield, because we'll find out what George did to Winfield, and it's pretty fucked up.
Sorry.
But, it'll come up anyway.
Okay.
So Scott Boras said, quote, "There was definitely an approach on a part of the team as you would expect toward a family that is literally barely making ends meet. At the minimum, for any sum of money they thought would persuade them. They thought they could just throw a couple bucks at him and they'd be like, oh, Lordy, we done got $5,000. And then they'd fucking be happy with that shit. And they were like, fuck you. We're not stupid because we're poor. Like, yeah, we're black and poor. That doesn't mean we're fucking completely brain damaged or stupid or we don't know what money is.
We can cover the wire in the fucking light.
We do know how to read what other people are signing for, you fucking assholes. So, he said that, but Mrs. Taylor was very astute. I think I spent an hour and a half a day on the phone with her for 100 consecutive days. The preparation, the documents, the markets. I said, these people are going to come and they're not going to believe you. You are a lady who doesn't have a high school education. He said, quote, I explained how it's going to be perceived. They're going to view you as an indigent family that lives in a trailer and that any amount of money is going to feel like you won the lottery. Our job is to not look at the money. Our job is to look at the value in the marketplace at the time for Brian's skills, which is smart. He's saying, don't worry about who you are, worry about what the market is for him, which is what they should be doing.
But Mama's looking at the paper going, my boy was drafted higher than the other pitcher. Whatever he signs for, we get more.
We get more.
That's where it is.
That's it right there. Boras said, quote, she said, are you saying they are going to try to pay us on the basis of our circumstances rather than on Brian's talents? And I said, absolutely.
Listen,
they're going to try to fuck you in every way in the world.
Mama Taylor, calm down with the us. You know, we get that your boy's probably going to take care of you, but he's getting the paycheck. It's not going under your social. You're not deducting this shit on your taxes.
He's an 18-year-old kid, and they're looking at it like he's going to camp, which is how a lot of it is. If when the 18-year-old kids sign, it's funny. All the like old baseball players, they all say when they signed, it was their dad was there, and that was their advisor, and that was the guy that was like, yeah, go ahead and sign.
Parents got to calm the fuck down.
Yeah, I think he should get get $5,000, and they'd be like, okay. And it's fucking Sparky Lyle, his book. He talks about that, whereas his dad said that he thinks he should get a little bit of cash, and then they didn't end up giving him cash, and later on the scout was like, yeah, we would have given you about $15,000. And he was like, fuck.
Whoops the daisy.
That's what happens when your dad negotiates your contract. Now Betty said, quote, they had the attitude that these poor black people from the South were stupid and didn't know any better, and we were, but let me tell you, we learned quick. When I went in, I told them what I wanted, and I wasn't going to budge from that, and we were. Well, they are like poor black people from the South.
That was a Mel
and
Brooks
they didn't know any better.
That was genius.
And we were.
Yeah, it sounded like something.
Hey, they're darker than us.
Sounded like something Steve Martin would have said in The Jerk.
Yeah, it did. It really did. That's fucking funny, man.
Great.
She said the father was getting cold feet. And Brien just didn't know what was going on and didn't know any better, so he was just like, I guess, take care of it. I don't know. But it was her. She was the one standing strong. The father was just like, just sign for something. We need this money. Don't get this money pulled off the table now. All that shit. So it was her alone. She was doing her thing. Betty said, quote, it was not about the money for me. I told them what I expected. It was a matter of respect and equality and pride. So Betty's not taking any shit from the fucking Yankees. She says in the paper, as a matter of fact, this is publicly at this time, she says, quote, as things go along, I'm beginning to wonder, is it because we're black here, we're poor and we're black? I'm not saying this is the case, but if it is, I can live with that too. She said that she wasn't making an accusation in the paper, but she said the most recent Yankee offer was $650,000, which is only half of the $1.2 million deal made last year between the A's and Todd Van Poppel. It was another mediocre fucking pitcher, but also a white kid, was what she's saying. They gave the A's, who are a poorer organization, gave this guy twice as much money last year. So what's up with that?
It's fascinating how I like her. She's fantastic.
Oh, she's fucking spunky. I dig this. I dig this fucking lady.
She's a tough lady.
She is. She said that also in the paper, she said that Gene Michael, the general manager, failed to introduce himself to her when he came to watch Taylor pitch. She said, quote, Mr. Michael came down here twice. He didn't even give me a hello. If you ask me, that's downright disrespect. He could have said hello. I've lived with that sort of thing all my life. I mean, disrespectful people. So she's like taking out her life's shit on, oh yeah, now I got this big, fat, fucking giant organization full of money and they want something I got. Right. And motherfucker, you're not going to push me around for it like I've been pushed around.
Right.
This is someone richer than the guy who owned the crab factory and everything else. Yeah. And I'm not fucking shelling crab in this scenario, motherfucker. You're going to shell my crab because I own the crabs now. I love this shit. This is great.
I like her arguments, though, where she's just like, they're treating us like poor black people that are dumb. I mean, we are.
We are, but we ain't going to be treated like that. We learn fast. We weren't dumb for long. I'll be poor and black always, but I won't be fucking dumb for long. You know, screw that.
It's like my ex-girlfriend Bed Puddle being like, you're treating me like I got drunk and pissed your bed last night. I mean, I did.
But you're kind of acting like I did it all the time.
You're getting real out of bounds here.
That's a little. Let's all calm it down now. Let's take it down a step. Take it back a notch. Brien says, quote, I'm not pitching to just to get to the show. I want to get there and be the best pitcher I can be. From there, hopefully I can get to the Hall of Fame. I want to be somebody special. So at this point, that seems like a distinct possibility.
This is fantastic.
It's got it all. Now, where is George Steinbrenner? Why is a man suspended from running his own baseball team that he bought with his own money? Let's find out.
Okay.
This is Fay Vincent, who was the commissioner of baseball in 1990. He says, quote, Yankees owner George Steinbrenner had been involved in a very sordid and unpleasant effort to discredit David Winfield. I had investigated what Steinbrenner has done. We had hearings. Steinbrenner testified at those hearings. He admitted he did some very bad things. Mostly, he tried to ruin David Winfield by ginning up an investigation by claiming Winfield had violated the tax laws and a variety of other things.
Wow.
That's how mad he was at Dave Winfield, was having a fight with him. In order to get dirt on Dave Winfield, Steinbrenner had paid a two-bit gambler named Howie Spira $30,000 one time, and then another $30,000 because Spira claimed he had very bad information on Winfield.
This is intense.
This is crazy. It turned out that Spira had nothing, and when I investigated, Steinbrenner admitted it was a terribly stupid thing to pay off a gambler instead of coming to me. So I met with Steinbrenner in 1990, and I told him I was going to suspend him for 2 years.
He thought he was a fucking CIA agent?
He thought he was a mob boss. He was like, get me fucking dirt on that guy. What's he doing? Let me find out. He got an auto body shop out in Queens I don't know about? I want a fucking piece of that. I want 20 fucking points. What are we looking at here? What the fuck are you talking about, Frank? I want a piece of that body shop.
Somebody get me some two-bit fucking soldier on the street.
Get him up here. Not a fucking degenerate gambler I see in the club every fucking. Bring him up here. The one who sleeps in the fucking bathroom. You know what I'm talking about. Bring him to me. Bring him to me. He sleeps in the bathroom. You know what I'm talking about.
Awesome.
He drops a lot of money, so, you know, we got a lot out and shy to him, so we just let him sleep it off. He's just going to borrow more when he wakes up. It's fine. So now Brian Cashman says, quote, it didn't help the negotiations when from the outside George stated publicly that we better sign the kid. That obviously gave them some leverage. Yeah. I would say so, and I think Boris knew that. As a matter of fact, he says, quote, I also knew Brian had a reading disability, so we had to create an option for him, which was junior college, so he could have a place to pitch if, in fact, he couldn't receive the appropriate bonus. And he talks about Todd Van Poppel. Gene Michael for the Yankees says, I didn't believe Brian Taylor was going to college. I thought he wanted to sign professionally. I think our organization became a little frightened. I wasn't worried about what George had said, which he probably was worried about what George had said.
It's terrifying.
Yeah. Cashman said that I remember Scott Boras holding out until he got what he wanted, and he got what he wanted. I remember it being very difficult conversations. We were trying to deal with the family and make sure they were educated. I think he said that wrong, like you said minority wrong earlier. I think there's the same thing here. Scott looked at it as a unique talent, which he was, and put a unique price on it. Now, Boris also says, quote, the Yankees may have brought Betty a suitcase full of money, because this is an old trick they used to do, just a suitcase full of cash that poor people go, holy shit, money, and they take it.
Way more than I'll ever
You know what's funny? We had the exact same fucking scenario. We've been presented with that suitcase full of cash. It's an electronic suitcase full of cash. But when you are poor and you can't pay your bills, and then Christmas is in 2 fucking weeks, you make bad decisions because of that shit. So, anyway, moving on.
Kids going, I really like Xbox games. And you go, oh, those shits are
I want
expensive.
that Lego set.
Right.
Fuck. For me, I was like, I really like electricity. And I've taken to food. I kind of enjoy it now.
When the water's off, you can only flush a toilet once.
And it's gone. So we're going to have to use the yard. So,
save it for a big one, boy.
No shit, man. Jesus Christ. Fuck. So, the big one. Boris says that was an old tactic that scouts used to use when they would actually bring cash to the house. Betty stuck to the script. We want his value. When the deal went down, I was with Betty at their home. His dad, I believe, had taken Brien to school at Lewisburg College. We had instructed Brien. We were waiting for the contract. Betty had given the Yankees the number, $1.5 million, she told them.
Christ.
So at this point, they're going, like, the father took him to college, and they're sitting in the parking lot in college waiting to hear whether to go inside. Basically, that's their leverage. They're like, this motherfucker is 5 minutes from walking into his first class, and you lose your rights. So you can either pay $1.5 million now, or you lose him, and you can maybe you can draft him next year.
Or he goes into biology 101.
That's it. Now. Or he's going to go fail out of college, but he's going to enroll, though. Don't you fucking worry about that. He said, quote, back then the deadline was ours. When we attended class was when the Yankees' rights ended. Now the deadline is a prescribed date, August 15th, because that's what it is now. Now you have a deadline. Back then you could just fuck with people. He said, I looked at the draft rules at the time. It was really up to the athlete if he went to class or not. He could have told the team if he were going to go to class and not go, then he would receive their top offer and evaluate it. Or he could go to class. The team had no way of knowing. Betty told the team he was going to class. I believe it was a 10 a.m. class. He was at the school. I know one of his classes was history because there was a concern with his reading ability, and one of his counselors thought it would be a good subject. The college was great. They did a very thorough job of testing and evaluating him. They had no problem. So the Yankees offered $700,000 and said that was their third and final offer. This is while he's on the campus. And by the end of that phone call, they offered him $1.55 million.
How about that?
So they more than doubled their, quote, final offer from $700,000 to in a matter of 10 minutes because they were like, never mind, he's going to class now. Yeah. They were like, okay, fine, we'll sign him. So they knew they had him by the balls. Yeah. He gets $1.55 million.
I wish I would have been on that phone call.
Oh, my God.
Nice to meet you, Professor Robinson. This is my boy.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to do the Pledge of Allegiance.
Hold on. Wait
Stop.
a second. Don't walk through that door. Don't walk through that door. So gets $1.55 million, which was a record back then to sign a draft pick. He said, quote, the money when I got it changed a lot for me. It makes you more secure, but baseball was my dream. I love baseball. Not many kids my age had a 100-mile-an-hour fastball. I'm still disgusted and upset when a lot of guys would be happy with the money. Just be happy with the money. So didn't like that. This is what the Yankees do, though. They sign people for more money than they're worth because Steinbrenner sees talent. This has happened several times. This happened Brien Taylor. This happened Billy Cannon, who ended up being a longtime NFL player. They gave him a shitload of money in the
Cannon?
Cannon, yeah.
I don't know the name.
John Elway is one of their guys that they drafted in 1981. They gave him a $75,000 signing bonus, which was unheard of back then.
That was a lot, huh?
Yeah, and he just dicked around with the Yankees for a while. If you've seen the Elway to the Marino things, you can see highlights of him in a Yankee uniform, like hitting the ball and rounding the bases, which is weird as fuck.
It is.
It's super weird. Drew Henson, remember the Michigan quarterback and / third baseman who ended up being on the Cowboys for a couple of years.
Is that where he went?
Yeah, he was just toiled in the Yankees minor league system and sucked. Todd Stottlemyre, they did that with, never ended up getting him. Bo Jackson, the Yankees were determined to sign him, but they tried to sign him, but he rejected them because Bo said he felt he'd been disrespected by the Yankees owner, Steinbrenner, prior to signing with Auburn. Which because he didn't like the way Steinbrenner talked to him. And also Todd Detmer, who was a BYU quarterback.
Okay. Is that Ty?
It's Ty's brother.
Okay.
Ty and Todd. There's two of them. Yeah.
I was like, I don't know Todd. That's familiar.
They gave him a $208,000 bonus, which was a record then in 1979.
I want to know what he said to him.
Never
what
played
he
in the
said
big
to
leagues.
Bo Jackson.
I know, so do I.
That would be a fucking great
if I ever talk to Bo, that's what I want to know.
That's the only thing I want to know,
Tell me, Bo.
That and how bad did that tackle really hurt?
Oh, man. He said it wasn't even that bad.
Yeah.
He said it was just a weird
and then just
numbness.
Yeah.
That was it. So 1992 season now, he's drafted, he's signed. Baseball America, which is the scouting, all the scouting Bible kind of a thing. They rank him the number one preseason prospect in all of minor league baseball.
Really?
He's the number one guy in all of minor league baseball. They rank him. He goes to the Fort Lauderdale Yankees of high A ball.
Yeah.
Carl Everett's on this team because the Yankees also drafted Carl Everett and lost him. Longtime Red Sox player, really good. Broke up a fucking Mike Mussina perfect game once in 2001. Jesus Christ.
That's depressing.
2 outs in the ninth inning, he broke up a fucking game.
Really?
Shitty Chuck Knobloch couldn't get to it to catch it. Fuck you, Chuck Knobloch. By the way, I found a bunch of arrests on Chuck Knobloch.
Oh, fantastic.
So we're doing a Chuck Knobloch, and I'm going to fucking bury him for all his fucking pain he caused me. Son of a bitch.
Messina was great.
He really was. And this was when he was really good.
Yeah.
This was 2001. It was right before my daughter was born, I remember. So anyway, we have an in their own words here on arriving and having money and whatever. Because he says beyond buying a car, he had no idea what he was going to do with the money. He didn't know anything. He says in their own words, quote, "It was quite amazing. I'm used to fields with just a little fence around it and no big things like this. When I first came to the stadium, it was amazing. I stopped and looked and heard people hollering and screaming at me and trying to intimidate me. It kind of made me stop at the door before I came in." So he's intimidated by this whole fucking thing and this whole process, but you got to expect that. And I'm sure that's to every player. And that's probably why they like him to play a little college ball first to get him into the world, to not be like the scout where you pull Brendan Fraser out of a fucking jungle and throw him in Yankee Stadium and expect him to be mentally okay with this. Right. So I'm going to go ahead and say it right now. Yeah. Everything is wonderful. They gave him a $1.55 million. Amazing. He's the number one prospect in the world.
He's playing from places with little tiny fences around it. Now he's in Yankee State. Well, I mean, he's
at the spring training. Right. Grace. This is grace. This is grace right here. Yes. I realize he's 18 years old.
That's amazing.
And he's never thrown a pitch for which he's been paid for yet, but this is grace.
He was hip-hop's biggest mogul, the man who redefined fame, fortune, and the music industry.
The first male rapper to be honored on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, Sean Diddy Combs.
Diddy built an empire and lived a life most people only dream about.
Everybody know ain't no party like a Diddy party, so.
Yeah, that's what's up.
But just as quickly as his empire rose, it came crashing down.
Today I'm announcing the unsealing of a 3-count indictment, charging Sean Combs with racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, interstate transportation for prostitution.
I was up. I hit rock bottom, but I make no excuses. I'm disgusted. I'm so sorry.
Until you're wearing an orange jumpsuit, it's not real. Now it's real.
From his meteoric rise to his shocking fall from grace, from law and crime, this is the rise and fall of Diddy. Listen to the rise and fall of Diddy exclusively with Wondery Plus.
In the 1980s, a rosé swept the country.
Hey, Mike, I really like this White Zinfandel.
Well, good. Now put it down. We're going to try another one.
White Zin became America's top-selling wine. But most don't know that this sweet drink has a sour history. What began in 1986 with counterfeit bottles.
A big fraud, a multi-million-dollar fraud.
Sent investigators chasing one of the most powerful families in the business, the Licciardis. But the closer the feds got to them, the more dangerous things became. It's a story of deceit.
At the time, I was paranoid.
Threats.
You touch my kids, I will kill you.
And murder.
With a .22 caliber bullet to the head.
What started with a scheme to mislabel wine spilled into a blood-soaked battle for succession. Welcome to Bloodvines. You can binge listen to Bloodvines exclusively and ad-free on Wondery Plus. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify.
And now back to the show.
Hey everybody, if you like this show that you're listening to here, Crime and Sports, then check out the Steve Austin Show each Tuesday and Thursday exclusively on Podcast One. Join the Pro Wrestling Hall of Famer and action movie star as he shares tales from his new life, unbelievable past adventures, and covers all the happenings in the pro wrestling world. So don't miss the Steve Austin Show each week on Podcast One, and also remember to rate and review.
And now back to the show.
1992 season. He's 20 years old, fresh-faced, 100-mile-an-hour fastball, $1.5 million in his fucking pocket, pulling into Fort Lauderdale to play with the Fort Lauderdale Yankees here. This year, he goes 6-8, which the team was terrible. You can't do wins and losses on minor league teams because you need like other high school kids to get you runs. So who knows?
You have to rely on the rest of this roster.
Exactly. Right. ERA is a little something you can look at a little more. Mm-hmm. That is 2.57, which is pretty goddamn good. He pitches 161.1 innings, which is way more than they'll let a kid pitch now for the most part. Only 121 hits in those 161 innings. So that's, if you're under the hit per inning thing, you're doing great.
And he's a starter.
And he's a starting pitcher. 187 strikeouts in 161 innings too, which is huge because that's, more than a hit, more than a strikeout per inning pitched. Right. That's going to be huge. So not too fucking shabby in this, and only 66 walks, which is probably a couple more than you want, but he's like 20 years old and he throws 100 miles an hour. You expect him to put that together in the future. The control thing. The team, on the other hand, like we said, they're 56 and 79, the minor league team. So nobody cares. These are guys coming in and out.
That's a great ERA for how many pitches how much he's thrown. Because it's
way more than a high school season.
He's playing more games than the average pro does too. Because what was it? Was it 10 and 8?
6 and 8.
6 and 8. Yeah.
But that's
14 games.
Yeah,
you're playing way more in the pros.
Well, he pitched way more than that. He pitched way more games than that. He pitched he started 27 games.
Okay.
It's just you get pulled early, and then also you'll come out with
right. So you don't get the win or the loss.
Yeah, leads will go back and forth because everybody's terrible. And games will be 12 to 11.
Right.
That's how that works. So but not 27 starts is almost a major league season. Now it's like maybe 35 you'll get, maybe 30. That's
the good pitchers get 20 wins.
Yeah, and great ones get 20.
Right. So if you're looking at 25 games or to 30 at 180, that's 6 innings a game.
Not bad at all. That's really good.
That's really good.
One of the games against the West Palm Beach Expos in September, he had a 12 strikeout, 2-hit performance there, which is pretty goddamn nasty. So he's got all the potential in the world. Gene Michael, the GM, said, quote, he went out that first year in the Florida State League and was pretty dominant for an 18-year-old kid who really didn't play real good high school baseball. He was very dominant. The average time of his fastball for the whole year was 95 miles an hour.
That's great.
The minor league people told me no one else could do that. So that's his average fastball.
That's awesome.
So that's impressive. That means a lot of them are above 99 or 95 miles an hour. Livesy, the scout there, said, quote, the other thing that was unique about him was the guy had a following. The kid would go sit in the stands and try to do his work, and there were all kinds of people coming to get his autograph. There were people after the game, outside the buses. He had a cult following.
How about that?
And this I can say, because I was a kid then, and this was like, he was hot shit. Like, we were like, oh, this is going to be the best. I remember I had his baseball card. It was the classic cards they had, and it was his draft pick card. I was fucking psyched.
Yeah.
It's like, this is going to be the shit.
I think I had J.R. Ryder's classic card.
I'm sure you did, yeah. We talked a lot about those in the Ryder episode. Jim Hendry, who was the Florida Marlins coordinator of player development in 92, said, quote, I saw him in the Florida State League. He was a good-looking prospect as you'll ever see. He was 97, 98, left-handed. He looked like he was going to have a great slider. He was can't miss. He had the perfect body. This is what the great ones look like.
Jesus.
Those are the guys. Doc Gooden, Kerry Wood, Josh Beckett, Brien Taylor. When you go see them, you know you have something special. Yeah. And those guys were a couple of them were burnouts, but legendary at some point.
Did you say Doc Gooden?
Yeah. Wood and Doc Gooden in their first couple of years, those are like the phenom prototypes of guys who came in and just blew everybody off their asses.
Kerry Wood stayed around for quite a while being very good.
He was so injured and he'd try to come back and then he'd be mediocre. And he's a shame, one of those guys.
Doc Gooden, I mean, if he hadn't gotten into the cocaine
Doc was the guy who he came back. He was throwing fucking 88. He wasn't even throwing that hard, and he threw a no-hitter for the Yankees. He just hung on and hung on. And Josh Beckett, we all know he's made a lot of fucking money, Josh Beckett. We'll say that.
That's true.
The Livesy guy said he was rough in the fundamental areas when we got him. The guys in the major league said, geez, he can't hold runners on. I said, geez, there's never been anybody on to hold. They're like, yeah, of course he doesn't have a pickoff move to first base. He's never had base runners. Why would he develop that?
Striking people out.
Yeah, and then in high school, he gave up 18 hits in a fucking season. What does he need to pick anybody off for?
He's not looking at the bases.
No, and it's like if a guy gets on first, he's like, yeah, you hang out there for a couple minutes, and I'm going to strike out a couple of your teammates and see you later.
Sit there, I'm about to throw 6 more pitches, and you can go sit back down.
That's about it. Jesus. Boris said, quote, for Brien Taylor, it wasn't a question if he were going to be dominant in the major leagues. It was a question about how long before it happened. So he was it. Early 1993, there's an article on him here, which is fucking amazing.
Okay.
An article on him in early 1993, and it starts out, quote, the bumpy dirt road that led to Brien Traylor's mobile home has recently been replaced by a neatly paved cement road that looks curiously out of place in these rural backwoods.
Hold on, let me get a handful of Vaseline. Keep going.
Yeah, exactly. The mobile home was also replaced 5 months ago by a comfortable 2-story home with a 2-car garage. This is what I find hilarious. And this is like what you would see like in a cartoon if somebody hit the lottery, rather than moving somewhere else or moving to a nicer place.
Stay in the same place and just tacky that shit up.
They'd knock their fucking trailer down with a bunch of trailers around it and build a nice house in the middle of all the fucking trailers. They pave the road and it's named Brien Taylor Way.
Get out of here.
They named the road after him, so it's fucking insane. So he builds a nice house though, 2-story house, two-car garage for his parents. He just like lives with his parents. Like, there's not a matter of like, I'm moving out and I'll get you guys a house. It's I'm buying us all a house that we're all living in.
That's fucking nuts.
It's super weird. Yeah, it's very. I don't know. It's it's not me. I was on my own, so I never.
It's similar to the Beverly Hillbillies shit, where at that point you've got enough money to go do your live happy,
stay together.
Go live a happy life. I mean, who am I to say this shit doesn't make him happy? I'm saying it doesn't make him happy.
No, they said he bought his father a Buick, and it's the first new car that Betty and his father have ever owned.
Yeah,
never had a new car before. There's a big screen TV in the house. There's a recreation room above the garage, and so they also say, though, quote, "Do not let the house, the cars, the paved road, or the television mislead you." Okay, back that up for a second. They're acting like don't let the palace guards and the Air Force One and shit. Like, no, this is, he said,
he literally
the
sprinkled
house,
some
the
asphalt
cars,
on the dirt.
The paved road or the television. Like, these are like items of great luxury. Even in 1992, people had houses, cars, pavement, and fucking televisions.
We were broke as shit, and we had a big screen TV in 1992.
That's what it happens,
Poor.
Man. He's
paved roads, James.
Paved road. We
had a house.
You weren't driving on bumpy ass roads. Fuck, your floor had flooring.
Unbelievable.
They said, quote, "The material goods have not fazed Brien. He would be content riding a bike and sleeping in a tent just as long as he could play baseball, live in Beaufort, and be with his family." So that's what they're portraying him as. He's just this down-home guy. We have an in their own words about this. He says, in their own words, quote, "Even though I've had a lot of things happen to me, I see things the way they are, and I never get too excited or go too far. Coming up through childhood, I was taught by my parents what was right and what was wrong. It stayed with me. You can't let anybody ever change what you believe in. I stay calm. I don't change." Keep that in mind. Stays calm, doesn't change. Don't change at all, and you're going to be fine. So I don't know about that. They spend a day with him. They said that, and I love the way this guy writes it. He really writes it like he's writing a romance novel. He might as well be writing Brien skipped through the field while his sundress blew in the wind and the daisies. That's what it fucking sounds like. Quote, "An afternoon spent with Taylor offered a glimpse into a serene life, dressed in black jeans and a black shirt." Like, I don't need to know that. Taylor sat in his living room with his parents and politely answered questions about his baseball future. His voice soft and southern, and his responses are quick and direct, just like his fastball and the way he drives.
What?
Come on. Jesus Christ.
He stood with the sun at his back, his cock outlined and his pant leg. What are you doing, man?
He's slow stroking. This is slow stroke baseball shit right here is what it is. It's not even that slow stroke human interest piece. That's what it is. Like, oh yeah, look at that. Ooh, his southern accent and his words fire out fast like his fastball, and the way he drives, he brought it all together. I'm gonna fucking go.
Your story's not aging well, sir.
Jesus Christ.
You should have waited to sell this piece.
No shit. Good Lord. He turned 21 right then. He has a steady girlfriend of more than 2 years who is a high school junior. He's 21 years old, and he has a major league contract. Don't fucking go out without. So that means he found a high school freshman after he signed with the Yankees.
That's depressing.
That's fucking ridiculous. He says, quote, "For me, time is going real fast. Sometimes it's too fast. I've given a lot of thought to it as far as being there. I want to get there as soon as I can," and the Yankees, obviously, "and whenever they think I'm ready. I just can't push myself there. I have to work hard and hope it happens. If it were to happen this year, I would love it." Well, I guess fucking so. You can go play for the Yankees. He said, "This place will always be home for me. Whether I come late or early or in the year after baseball, this will always be home. That's never going to change." So he's going to live in North Carolina in the former spot of his birth trailer.
That sounds...
I don't know why.
Zero aspirations. Like, the only aspiration he's got is to play Major League Baseball. That's it.
That's fine.
He's got no dreams outside of that.
He is 20, though.
Yeah.
He is 20, and since he was 5, they always just said, you're going to play baseball. Yeah. He didn't even ever think about what else you could do, which is kind of weird. Because at that point, then you have a bunch of money, and now you're playing baseball. Now what? Right. Then what? And what about after he retires? Then what happens, even if he has a successful career?
At 18, when you're drafted by the Yankees, you're dating a 15-year-old? What the fuck are you doing, man?
Yeah, no, that's what's wrong
weird.
there. Yeah, but in terms of maturity, though, in terms of something like that...
He probably doesn't know any better.
And I'm sorry, South, but I feel like that's more acceptable there, especially in 1991.
It's par for the course.
And it's like, well, he's successful, so you can either go out with him when you're 15 and he's 20, or else you can wait 2 years and then go out with the guy who works at the feed shop. Right. Those are your two fucking options. At least this guy's got $1 million. Right. Once again, we've learned time and time again, parents will sell their daughters for fame and fortune.
It's fascinating.
They 100% will.
What your daughter's fucking purity is worth.
Yeah,
it's disgusting.
It's really fucking weird.
My daughter's worth a little bit more than that to me.
I would say than like the Mel Hall model of a Corvette and an above ground pool.
It's at least $3 million.
Come on, Jimmy. You wouldn't trade your daughter for a Corvette and an above-ground pool?
Afraid not.
Jesus Christ.
It was in ground.
Sorry.
It was in ground.
It was in ground, but still. I feel like they would have went for the above ground. Yeah. I feel like the parents would have agreed to that, but Mel was like, you know what, I want to swim in it too.
I'll throw in the in ground.
We're going with the in ground.
It's still $80,000 today. You know what I mean? That's nothing in terms of your daughter's fucking safety. And
they had a different approach.
Sanity later in life.
You know what, though? He did throw in Yankee tickets.
Good point.
So that front row tickets and limos to the game.
I'll bet there was a ton of merch, too.
Wait, limos. Oh, they said they got hats and jackets.
That's right.
Limos, Corvettes, pools, tickets.
Fuck it.
You're going to hand your daughter right over. Lock, stock, and barrel.
Knuckle her up.
Just call me in a couple years. Call me when your first kid's born. Let's just say that. Till then, you just romp all over it.
Show her your knuckleballs, sir.
You get on top of her and you just do your damnedest, and it's fine. I'll just be in the pool.
We'll sleep in the living room. You can have my room.
It's fine. Yeah, do that. Matter of fact, you do that. I'm going to be in the same house, though, because I want to hear it.
Yeah.
I want to hear it. I want to hear the terrible things you're doing to my daughter.
I want to hear the tearing.
While I float around in my new in-ground pool.
Holy shit.
If that father ever killed himself, I would hope he did it in the garage with the Corvette. That would have been the best
thing. At least
thing.
Don't do it in the pool, sir.
No, not the pool. Don't ruin the pool for everybody. So 1993 season, Baseball America prospectus, whatever the fuck. He's the number 2 overall prospect this year behind Chipper Jones. Who's the number 1 prospect and went on to play for goddamn 20 years and hit 400 home runs.
Unbelievable player.
Be a really good player and a terrible, stupid name and a goofy looking son of a bitch.
And that was
I just
his
hate
real
the Braves,
name, wasn't it?
It's Larry.
Is it? Get the fuck
I think it's Larry Chipper Jones is what it is, yeah.
I thought Chipper was his real name.
No.
That's depressing.
No, absolutely not. No, Chipper's not as... You thought Chipper is... What's worse, Larry or Chipper?
I don't know.
I don't know either. That's bad. Larry makes you sound like an old man, but Chipper makes you sound like a handicapped child. So I don't know. Sounds like that would be on the back of your wheelchair. Chipper would be like written on the back in like quotes. Chipper, and he's got flags and shit dangling and like a fucking Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle hanging off the side.
It's written on your license plate, but there's that little handicap logo right next to it.
Yeah, and you're like, I'm still Chipper. I still have spirit.
It's some Tipper Gore names her daughter. Like, that's so stupid.
Jesus Christ. So the Baseball America that year said about him, quote, from a developmental standpoint, Taylor showed the Yankees all they wanted to see. Well above average arm strength, an effortless delivery, and the ability to locate pitches with rare precision. Ooh, not bad. Taylor's fastball reached 98 miles an hour on occasion and consistently hit 95. He also threw a power curve and changed speeds off it. Scouts marveled at Taylor's ability to keep his head as he unleashed his full arsenal of pitches. Scouts say he'll be ready for New York by September.
Okay.
So this is what we're all thinking. Yeah. He's going to be September call-ups. He's going to be coming on in the 94. He's going to be a fucking Yankee. Yeah. This shit's going to be amazing.
14-year-old James is losing his mind right now.
14-year-old James is psyched. I'm very, very excited, although at this point, I'm probably more excited about girls and weed, I would say. And I've I've been disgusted with the Yankees, and I've given sports a break for a couple of years where I will go have other interests.
Right.
So,
and then that Cutlass is 2 years away, babe.
That's what I mean. I'm going to have that shitty fucking Cutlass. By the way, that Cutlass for a long time, the passenger door didn't open. The handle broke. So you'd have to climb in Duke Boy style.
Oh, no.
I had a couple of friends that got really good at it.
The door it just didn't open?
The handle broke. So
on the outside?
On the outside.
You could open it from the inside?
From the inside, you could open it.
So
but otherwise,
slide across that giant fucking bench.
You just fucking hop over. You'd hop in. So all my friends had a real good Duke Boy mounting of the thing. People would slide across my hood and hop in the fucking car. So we had fun. And then I switched the front handle to the back, and then one of the back doors didn't open, but the front one opened, which I figured was more important.
It's much more fun to do that into the back seat anyway, because at least I'm not going to tag you with my feet as I'm not going to.
I was going out with a girl, and I'm like, okay, I can't not have a door open. So I literally was like, I needed to impress this chick. I better fucking. So I had my dad switch the door things out. I'm like, help me do this. This is important. He did. It was good.
Back when door handles were interchangeable front and back.
Now it didn't matter.
Now they're so much smaller.
It was an 85 Oldsmobile. I could have put anything on there. I could have put a doorknob from the house on that fucking thing. It would have opened it probably. It was just a big piece of shit. So he's in Albany that year. The Albany Yankees have Double-A ball. Double-A is where they put their prospects who are meant to do something. This is where the best players are in Double-A. This Jorge Posada was on the team that year, which is pretty cool. This is where they said the Yankees they're planning on having him really hone his curveball this year. They said his fastball was ready for the majors. This was just hone that curveball, get his off-speed stuff down, and really get it going. This year in Albany, he goes 13-7 with 27 starts. He has a 3.48 ERA, which that's stepping up the competition a lot from high A to Double-A. So that's pretty damn good.
And he only adds a 1 to it.
That's not bad. That's not bad at all, and not at all. And even 3.48 is very respectable. Sure. That's a good ERA. 163 innings, so the same there. They keep him in the same ballpark. 102 walks this year, so a little more walks. 150 strikeouts. But you're facing better hitters that aren't just blown away by a fastball. They'll take it if it's not a great fastball for them. So overall, though, a pretty damn good year for Brien Taylor. It looks like he's on pace at that point. There's a story I found from this era, kind of about his personality, and maybe he's not so just like some humble kid or something. The attention's starting to get to him, at least a little bit. Even if we give him benefit of the doubt, the attention's getting to him. There's a story somebody wrote about, it's a blog thing that somebody wrote. I found a bunch of baseball cards from when I was a kid, and I found pages of autographed cards from the minor league team that was here. He goes, and I found all these cards, and he's had Jorge Posada signed and all these rookies. And he goes, and I remembered Brien Taylor trying to get his autograph, because he said, I found the one card that didn't have an autograph is Brien Taylor. And he goes, why don't I have a Brien Taylor autograph? And I had to think about it. And he says, as the players came out of the locker room, they were all real friendly. And he said a bunch of fans were there, and they were happy to sign autographs. These are fucking kids that you're happy to sign an autograph at that point. Who the fuck wouldn't be? So he said
Bonds. He did the shit to me.
He was always a dick, Barry Bonds. Barry Bonds is a fucking asshole.
They used to spring train. I mean, before spring training, they would do it at the park, over in Scottsdale, and they do BP in the morning and practice and run sprints and all that shit. And we used to go there because my parents played racquetball in the morning, if that's not white trash enough. And they'd play racquetball, and me and my stepbrother would go down to the field and watch.
Makes sense.
Then we'd bring our cards with us.
Why not?
And that motherfucker, every player came out of the fucking whatever they call that, the clubhouse, I guess.
Yeah.
They all run out there and go take the field and go over to the bullpen, and fucking Barry Bonds would go the other side of the building and then just come right out, and then
he's such a dick.
What a cunt! You see his that long cross in his ear glistening in the sun, and you know exactly who it was.
He was a dick.
He's just being a bitch.
Rod played with him for years and said he was a fucking asshole.
He's such a bitch.
He's like one of those dudes you just kind of try to ignore him. He's he's not cool. He's not going to hang out with anybody. He's such a fucking great player. You just try to ignore him. He said that Dusty Baker fucking roughed him up once in the office, which I think is a great story that probably no one's ever heard.
I wish I would have seen that.
He said they were on the road, and it was like on one of the makeshift offices, and he was pissed off at Barry for something. And Dusty's a big, tough son of a bitch. Yeah. You don't fuck with Dusty Baker. He's a man. And he just said, boy, that office was shaking for about 3 minutes, and Barry came out with his fucking tail between his legs with a different attitude. I know that much.
More like Krusty Baker.
He goes, I don't know what the fuck happened in there, but Barry changed his point of view. Yeah. He said Rod said he had a little confrontation with him once. Barry told him that said something about Rod Rod's locker being dirty.
Yeah.
So Rod told him to go fuck himself. He said, why don't you mind your own fucking business? Keep your face in your own fucking locker. I don't need you and my shit, blah, blah, blah. So I thought that was kind of funny. He's like, oh, fuck that guy, man. I don't give a shit. Fuck that guy. Yeah, he's an asshole. Everybody thought he was an asshole.
10-year-old me would have high-five Rod for that shit.
No shit. Yeah, oh, yeah.
I was furious.
I bet you were.
Less than furious. I was heartbroken because I'm a kid. Like he was everything to me. I loved him on the Pirates.
Yeah.
And then knowing that he was going to be here every year, I was like, this is great.
Fucking,
and then, so much for that.
Awful. Rod hated that he was a dick to fans. He was like, all that dude had to be was not even good, just half decent. He would have been the biggest star on earth.
Exactly.
That's all he had to do because he's the most talented dude. He just had to not be a complete piece of shit.
Hit a home
to
run.
Everyone.
Go high-five a kid.
Yeah.
You'll make so many fans.
Yeah. So this guy said he got Jorge Posada's autograph that day. He was excited that he had a card of the guy to get the autograph on. And he said Brien Taylor was one of the last players to come out of the locker room. He said that he was super excited because he wanted to, he was excited to see him. He was the big phenom prospect.
Yeah.
And he said, quote, his attitude was totally different from the rest of his teammates. I remember that he was wearing sunglasses and he didn't say a word to me or the other fans as he briskly jogged toward the team bus. I decided to run after him. Mr. Taylor, I'm a huge Yankee fan. Could I please have your autograph? I yelled out to him, but it didn't matter. He just ignored everybody and kept going. So that's, you're in the minors, dude. Fucking sign autographs.
Honestly.
And he said it wasn't like there was 400 people there. There was like 8 people there.
Right.
Like it would have taken you 10 seconds to sign these autographs and then be like, I got to run to the bus. You don't have to talk to people.
Right.
Say, I got to run, but I'll sign your shit. Everyone been like, oh, cool. Thank you. Even more thankful that you interrupted yourself to do it.
Cam Newton does that shit walking. Why can't you, asshole?
Other people, tons of people do it like fucking crazy, dude. It's not, be happy that someone wants your goddamn autograph.
Honestly, they want you to write your fucking name on something.
And they're
That's
excited
all it
about
is.
that. That makes them happy.
It's crazy.
It's fucking nuts. The team this year goes 71-67, this shitty Albany Yankees.
Yeah.
Not that matters. So they want him to go to fall ball. He doesn't come up to the majors that year. They want to keep him percolating down there, marinate him for a little bit more, get that garlic spice really sunk in. So they want him to go play fall ball. As you know, they have an Arizona fall league. They have the winter league down in the Dominicans. They have down in the Dominican Republic.
All seasons, babe.
All seasons ball down there. As we know, that was the roast of beef is the Dominican Republic one. So they said, why don't you go to the Florida Instructional League in the fall and work on all your shit? And he said he's, quote, too tired. He's too tired. I said, nah, he's too tired. It's just I'm a little tired. I'm going to go back home.
Could you imagine just giving that excuse for not making $100 or $1.5 million?
Oh, he's still making it. He's just like,
that's
I don't feel like going down.
You're not
going
to go down and earn your fucking money?
Nah, he's like, I'm tired. I'm going to stay home.
Yeah.
The Bill Livesey said, quote, obviously we'd like him to be here, but as you know, it's not mandatory. We've talked to him. His manager talked to him.
Wow.
They're like, we can't force him to, money or not. So it's funny because everyone's like, what do you mean you're too tired? They write in the paper, quote, if Albany was mentally exhausting, what can he expect when he gets to the Bronx?
Yeah.
Like, no shit.
Wait till you got to listen to Steinbrenner.
Yeah, no shit. So he should have been playing baseball this fall.
Yeah.
Instead, he goes back home to North Carolina and hangs out. As we know, crime and sports, time and time again, never go home.
Never.
Going home is bad.
It's a terrible idea.
It's just you're going to run into jackasses, people who want to take you down, and all these people seem to be dumb enough to let them.
Well, your guard is down when you're at home because you're comfortable. Be somewhere uncomfortable, and your head's always on a swivel.
You're trying not to be a jerk off to this. See, if he didn't know any of these people, none of this would have happened, is what I'm getting at. December 18th, 1993 is an issue. We're in Harlow, North Carolina, which you've never heard of for good reason, because it's nothing. And here it is. So this is from a guy named Ron Wilson. This is his account of this, and his account is as good as anybody else's because Brien never gives a 100% clear account. This is really the only guy who ever gives a full accounting of this down the road later, too, when it doesn't matter anymore. This isn't what he said to the police. This is this is the story, the most accurate probably we're going to get out of this, okay? So it's 11:30 p.m. on a Saturday night.
Oh, boy.
Ron Wilson is here. He's on parole. So he's staying home that night.
Yeah.
Okay. He's a parolee. He has a curfew, so he can't go out. He's watching TV in his trailer, of course, because everybody lives in fucking trailers here. He is pissed off because earlier in the night he was out and he got in a fight. He got in a fight at a bar, and he was really pissed off about it because the person he got in a fight with was Brendan Taylor, who's Brian's older brother.
Oh, boy.
Now, right away, bad things. You're thinking this is not going to go well. So Brendan Taylor, Brian's older brother, gets in a fight with this guy. Also, this guy is, it's so weird. Wilson's mother, this Ron Wilson, his mother, Patricia, was in a big argument with Brendan, who, Jesus Christ, okay, was in an argument with Brendan because Brendan's longtime girlfriend, a girl named Anna Wilson, is this Patricia's sister.
Jesus.
So do that math.
That's horrible.
Wilson is, I
fighting
guess,
with his girlfriend.
Wilson, I guess, is technically Brendan's girlfriend's niece.
Okay.
But I feel like the ages are similar.
It's very, very, yeah.
This is a fucking mess.
It's a web.
This is some trailer park shit right here. This is, you, sir, are white trash.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I don't care if everybody's black, white trash all around. I know it's not my turn. I know I was here last. I understand, guy. I understand everybody. I am sorry. When white trash comes, the Dexter signal goes up in the air. And I come in and it's holy shit, white trash all around. Goodbye. Poof. Sorry. He had to come and make an appearance just to point this out. Fuck me, man.
You can confuse it with the Wu-Tang sign too. It's just that's white trash.
That's white trash, baby. It's just a trailer sign that's an airstream that goes up. The outline of an airstream goes up in the air.
But why does this involve his life?
This is what I mean. Why is he involved in this?
Overlapping?
He should be like, well, that sounds like white trashery. You guys should stop that shit. That's
they should be calling him in another city to tell him that this occurred.
That this happened yesterday or a week ago because they couldn't get a hold of him because he's busy.
I've been in jail for the past week.
Because he should be in fall ball in Florida playing baseball for a living. So apparently there was some pushing and shoving at this point, and there's women and dudes and a big mess. Ron Wilson says, and we don't know if this is true, obviously, Ron Wilson says that Brendan knocked his mother, Patricia, to the ground, who is his girlfriend's mother.
Right.
His girlfriend's sister. Okay. So knocks his girlfriend's sister to the ground. Ron Wilson is pissed off. Ron punches Brendan hard in the face. So now it's a fist fight. It's escalated to fisticuffs here. Ron punches Brendan hard in the face. Brendan falls down and hits his head on a rock. Okay. He's hurt pretty good, but he gets up and has the rock in his hand and tries to kind of come at this Wilson guy, and this Wilson hits him again.
He's coming after a parolee.
He's coming after a guy,
just out of jail.
Well, the guy is just out of jail, punched a guy in the face when he's on parole. So whatever, his mother, his sister, this is a white trash disaster. Like we said this is the Jerry Springer show. It just needs a camera.
Yeah.
Like this is a set wherever it is.
And a host jamming a microphone in guests' faces going, what do you think about that?
And most of all, security. This needs security because this is a problem. So he's getting up now that he's hit his head. He's attacking the man with a rock, and now Wilson says he punched the guy again, and because Brendan was kind of out of it when he was coming at him with the rock. Wilson punches him again, and then Brendan and his girlfriend Anna, who is this man's mother's sister, who's Wilson's mother's sister, drive off. Okay, they take off.
Situation should be over. Somebody call the cops.
We had a fight. I'm sure there was alcohol involved.
He's a parolee. Get him thrown back in.
You can do that, or just ignore it. It'll go away.
Fuck it.
Yeah. Shit happens. I don't know. Fuck it is a good way to put it. It's the church of fuck it. Let's go to there. So instead, Ron comes back. He sits back down in his trailer. I guess he's watching TV. It's 11:30 at night. It's a little while later. This is where we started out. And he said that he hears a pounding on the door and cursing. He hears someone yelling and cursing and pounding on the door. Ron looks out of the door and he sees it's Brien Taylor. So now Brian's out there, and Wilson said he couldn't believe it because he said him and Brien have been really close friends for years, and they've never had any problems. And this is between him and his brother and his mother and his sister and his whole fucking mess. And he's like, why is Brien pissed off? This is ridiculous. So he said he didn't understand it. He said that Brien was, quote, practically family. He said Brien said that he was told that Wilson and another guy had jumped Brendan and cheap-shotted him. There is another guy involved in this thing that Wilson doesn't mention, but everybody else says that was involved in this altercation. It was 2-on-1 against Brendan. And so this guy's story is always whatever, but this is the basic gist of it.
Got it.
So anyway, he said he cheap-shotted him, and Brien is fucking pissed. He's outside the door. He's super pissed off. Wilson said that Brien screamed, come on out. Wilson says he told him, quote, I don't want to fight you. You and me, we don't have no problems. That's what he told Brien. Brien also has his cousin Donnell Johnson with him. They ignore what Wilson's saying, and Wilson keeps saying, "Why don't you come in and calm down, and we'll talk about it, and let's not fight." This is what he's saying. He says he might have been saying, "Go fuck you, I'm not coming out, eat dicks,
come in here and settle.
Fuck your mother." Yeah, who knows what he said. So anyway, but I guess Taylor says Brien is demanding that this guy come out and fight him outside. So Wilson says, quote, "It was like he couldn't even think." So he's saying that Brien was he was enraged. Jamie Morris is a guy who was there. This was a cousin of Wilson's. He hears the ruckus, I guess, and tells Brien and his cousin to leave and leave him alone. And this Johnson guy rushes at him and gets him in a full Nelson, this Jamie Morris. So now Brian's yelling for this guy to come out, and now his cousin's got this other dude, Wilson's cousin, in a full Nelson.
My God.
So now there's literally a wrestling move going on now. So someone's in a full Nelson.
This is a scene.
So Brian's getting more pissed off by the second here.
Yeah.
Everybody says it's escalating. There's a fucking full Nelson going on. Brien, and this is, like we said, all of this, how this happened is greatly disputed. But in the end, the result is not disputed at all. Brien throws a punch with his left hand. Okay, his pitching hand. Not smart at all. Number one. Now he throws it, and now this Wilson says that Taylor. Now this is the thing too. Wilson says that Taylor drew his left arm back and threw a really hard punch, and aiming at the Jamie Morris guy who was being held in a full Nelson. Now they said that Wilson says that Morris managed to get backwards, kind of like if you had Jimmy Hart in a full Nelson in the 80s, and you were gonna hit or whatever. The guy, a bad guy wrestler would have a good guy wrestler in a fucking full Nelson. The other guy's gonna come hit him, and then the other guy jumps away, and then the partners hit each other, and one falls out, and then the other one gets hit in the finisher, and it's over, and then it's whoever wins the tag team. And then the British Bulldogs are tag team champions. That's what happened in the 80s. So anyway, this is what's going on here. All this is happening. He says he tries to take a punch, and he takes a punch at Jamie and misses him completely. Now, this Wilson says that's what hurt his arm. He said that his left arm was kind of dangling at his side after that. And they said at that point a scuffle broke out between Wilson and Taylor and all of them. It's just this big scuffle. And he said Taylor screams, "Let me go! My arm hurts! My arm hurts!" And he cursed at Wilson. And Wilson says that Taylor threatened to, quote, pay someone to kill him. At this point, so
he's got money.
He's got some money. He could do it, actually. Now, by the way, the varying things. There's also it's been said that he tried to block a punch and hurt his shoulder that way. It's been said that he took a swing and missed, and they tumbled to the ground, and he hit his shoulder on it and landed on it. It's been said that it just it's been said many different ways, but this is this guy's story. Either way, it's a stupid fight outside of a fucking trailer,
and even worse,
over bullshit.
Even worse, a $1.5 million arm is now injured.
Yeah, and if it could get any worse, it's about to, because Deputy Sheriff Sonny Rose pulls up in an unmarked police car at this point in the middle of this fracas, and they get an ambulance for Taylor because his arm's so fucked up, and he's on his way to the hospital, and Wilson takes off because he's on parole, so he flees his own house, which he's not allowed to be away from anyway. Holy shit!
Yeah, that's an interesting conundrum. Like, you're on parole. You're going back to prison if one decision you make.
Yeah, either way.
You run, worse? You're going to jail anyway.
What's worse? Yeah.
You stick around, you're going to jail. Maybe you just stick around and say it's self-defense.
That's it right there. I guess that seems to be the best. I'm in my house and they came over to here, so
that's his story. It sounds like right.
It's a better story than I ran away after this guy's hurt and then I ran away. That looks worse. I
saw red and blue, so I started going left and right. I'm going.
That's a lack of foresight. I don't want to go to jail today. Maybe tomorrow. It's like, why don't you go tonight for the thing that will get you out tomorrow? This Wilson says, quote, "If Brien didn't have all that money, nobody would have cared. It would have just been another fight between two black guys in the hood."
All right.
So that's probably true also. Boris, the agent, tells everybody it's just a bruise. It's no big deal.
Yeah.
He's fine. Yeah. He'll be throw the ball tomorrow. He's just a bruise. And at the same time, though, he takes him to famed surgeon Dr. Frank Jobe, who examines Taylor and says that he has a torn capsule and a torn labrum.
Oh, no.
And that he needs surgery. And Taylor told a reporter, quote, "Just tell everyone I'll be fine." But in reality, he has one of the worst torn tears in his shoulder that this doctor's ever seen in his life.
No.
He said it tore in an unnatural way. It tore it off the bone. He just fucked himself completely. Now, let's get another version, by the way, here. Another version of this, of the fight, was that his older brother, Brendan, was assaulted by a rock thrown by Ron Wilson, not hit and fell into the rock, in an apparent, quote, business dispute at Wilson's home. What kind of business is a parolee in a trailer park going? What business do you think that is? What do you think? They're about to release their IPO public and they're fucking arguing about what day they wanted to do it on? Or do you think this was about like a fucking QP of dirtweed?
Right.
I'm going to go with a QP of dirtweed that's going to end up in some kid in Nashville's ball sack.
For me to
in Jimmy's hand.
Right.
And then in my lungs.
You don't think it's the Wilson and what's? You don't think these two are discussing the newest website for Yale?
Yeah, no, I don't think. Yeah,
we're gonna call it Bookface or something like that.
Yeah, it's gonna be fucking amazing.
It's gonna be huge.
Billionaires.
The Winklevoss twins are not at this meeting. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, that's where are they? I know the son of a bitches are going to be here eventually.
Unbelievable.
So this version of it says that he went to meet with Wilson and there was no beef between them, but then an argument ensued and somebody bum rushed him, and Jamie Morris bum rushed him and tackled him to the ground and caused him to land on his left shoulder. Okay. That's another version of it. His mother, Betty, she says, quote, "Brien hasn't done anything wrong. All he did was defend himself. I know I don't know what all the hoopla is about. He's still Brien Taylor. I know he's a ball player with the New York Yankees, but he's still Brien Taylor. He was reacting to what happened to his brother. I think any family member would have done the same thing. The way this thing is being treated, you would have thought he had gone out and committed a crime. Maybe the only thing he did was act quickly. Brien reacted with his heart, not his head."
No.
You would think he committed a crime.
He did.
By the way, he's charged with simple assault for this. That's called a crime.
You know what, Mom? This wouldn't have happened, and it shouldn't have happened had he been playing some fucking fall ball like he was asked to do.
That's it. And not to mention, you have to be smarter when you are a very famous, very highly touted, and especially with the Yankees, and that was all under a microscope with the contract, and somebody gave you $1.5 million. You have to be smart enough to go, I'm not going to go to that dude's trailer at midnight. Just not. I'm sorry. I like it, bro. I love you, and fucking I'll buy you a beer and let's hang out and talk about it. But my whole fucking life isn't going to get ruined because you two are mad about that you weighed your dime bags heavier than he wanted you to, and he didn't make the extra $50.
And this is 1996. This is the age of frivolous lawsuits.
92. This is 93.
Why aren't you looking in the rear view going, back there is a bunch of people that sue over anybody
it's
getting
ridiculous.
an eyelash.
It's just so fucking stupid. And not to mention, the big thing is you can get hurt too, stupid. How about that? And so anyway, his agent here, Scott Boras, said, quote, "Brien was stellar, dominant, on his way. He was going to be in the big leagues and was going to be what we all thought he was going to be." Then there was that unfortunate evening in North Carolina in 1993 that he got a call his brother was getting beat up at a bar. He was home in bed. He gets out of bed. He goes over to find his brother and protect him. A guy takes a swing at him and he puts his left arm up in his hand, in his hand and arm to take the force of the swing. It pushes him back and behind his head. I take him to Dr. Frank Jobe. He looks at me and says, quote, "This is the worst rotator cuff tear I've ever seen. It's completely off the bone. So we have to have that surgery."
So he's saying that they punched hands at the same time?
He blocked a punch and it put it behind his head, which never happened in the history of the world. I'd say he fell on it or he threw a punch and just fucking threw it weird.
I could see it's throwing the punch because his arm's not used to throwing that motion anymore.
No, it's true.
Used
maybe
to
if he was
overhand.
maybe if he was in fall ball, his arm would have been a little more used to throwing things like balls and punches, and he wouldn't have hurt himself. So, December 28th, 93, he has surgery. He's expected to miss many, many months, probably the whole season.
God damn it.
He said that the doctor says, quote, Brien came down to see me. His dislocation wasn't that severe. He's doing exercises to develop the strength between his shoulder, his arm, and his body. He's nearing full range of motion. He's getting good strength. His prognosis is optimistic. He'll be tossing a ball in 4 months. He'll come back and pitch. And they said, well, will he be able to pitch the same? And the doctor said, I have no fucking idea. I'm saying he can take a ball and with his arm move it to another part of the place. I'm not saying with what accuracy, velocity, or pizzazz.
I'm telling
you,
there will be energy from his arm transferred to that ball, pushing it extra feet.
Yeah,
that's all
shit.
I know.
They said, they were going on to say this is much different than a football player having this injury. They can come back a lot sooner, but for a shoulder and a pitching arm, it's got to be perfect before you can then put that kind of torque on it and fuck it up more. Because that's not a natural motion. He had, in his sidearm, he had like that 3/4 that's kind of a better natural motion. He didn't have that straight overhand. We have an in their own words about this. Let's see what Brien thinks about this whole thing, what his stupidity teaches him. Maybe he's smart. Maybe he's got something. He says, in their own words, quote, if I'd been doing things that were stupid and didn't make any sense, I would have felt a lot worse about it. I feel what happened with me is a family thing, and I was there for my family, but I don't feel bad about it for one day because the reason it happened is not because I was being stupid out there. Disagree. Couldn't disagree more. Everything you said is the opposite of the truth. If I'd been doing things that were stupid, didn't make any sense, I'd have felt a lot worse. No, you should feel better about I'm never mind. I'm so irritated with this fucking guy. He'll just say whatever the opposite of what you say is. He's just contrary with shit, and it's fucking annoying.
And it feels like he does it on purpose.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Do you feel bad about it? Did you just feel bad about something dumb, fucked up your whole season? It wasn't stupid. It was really smart. It was the smartest decision I've ever made. If it was stupid, I'd feel bad about it, but I don't fucking do it because everything I do is smart. Like, no, that was stupid. Say it was dumb to go fight a fucking parolee in a trailer when you're a fucking millionaire New York Yankee, you stupid asshole.
Your brother's fine, by the way. He's alive.
Fine. He's not dead. If he was in a coma, I could see you going over there with blind rage. If you killed my brother, that didn't happen. Your brother had a black eye. He'll get over it.
Your brother bled a little bit. He'll be fine.
Put a fucking pork chop on it and tell him to go sit down. What the fuck is going on? So he is charged with 2 misdemeanor charges due to this fight. He was supposed to go to court in January, and then it gets delayed till November because his cousin, one of the co-defendants, Charles Donald Johnson, is a quote important witness. He is in the United States military, and he is in doing some sort of thing in Haiti that the military is doing down there, and the military is not going to let him out to go fucking testify for a trailer park assault. Yeah, they're like, we're busy down here. We've got shit to do. Sorry,
we're getting AIDS out of the water. Fuck your
let's
trial.
do this here. Maximum penalties that he faces are 30 days in jail and a $50 fine, and 6 months in jail and a $500 fine for threatening. That was the I'll hire someone to kill you.
This is a big trial.
It's a big trial.
Of the century.
Nothing ends up coming out of it. That's the funny part. 1994, he does not play the entire season. He's injured.
Good God.
In spring training, his director of minor league operations for the Yankees said, quote, he doesn't want to talk about it. He hasn't talked to anybody about it. They called him at this point baseball's invisible phenom because they couldn't, he's not even around anymore. 94, they talk about him being in spring training and not staying at the shitty hotel that all the Yankee minor leaguers were staying in, and that he was staying at like a nice condo.
Really?
And he had they said he has a phone line installed for himself and everything because he's there a month. And it's like, come on, dude. It was
people to call, Jay.
It was unpublished. He does.
Yeah.
He has an unlisted number. Unlisted number. People are going to call him and go, you stupid fuck. What are you doing? You dumb bastard.
He should have published it. He needed the criticism.
Jesus. 95 season. He's with the Gulf Coast League Yankees. This is rookie ball. So back down to base, bottom. And a couple other people that were at rock bottom at this point. Darryl Strawberry was on that team for a while, who was trying to come back. And Kevin Moss, who was the Yankee phenom in 1991 when Mattingly got hurt, hit like 24 home runs in the first half of the season and then disappeared for the rest of time. And you looked at me like, who the fuck is Kevin Moss? Right. He was the next fucking Mickey Mantle. That's who he was.
And then he lost his steroid dealer's number or something?
He just couldn't hit a breaking ball.
Wow.
That's all there was to it.
Somebody figured out the fucking matrix on him and knew
it was a mess.
The fucking flaw.
Yeah, biggest phenom rookie in the world in 91, and then by 95 he's back down in A ball. done. They said that when he returned, this was when Brien Taylor returned, he lost 8 miles an hour off his fastball, which is the difference between mediocre and something special, and was unable to throw his curveball for a strike.
Now he can't. What?
So it's his shoulder.
He's got no control.
He's got to relearn how to throw.
Yeah.
And that's a thing I've heard with pitchers. If you do that, Rod had that for shoulder. He came up a lot this episode. It was shoulder reconstruction, and he said he couldn't. He had nerve damage, and he couldn't feel the ball.
Fingers,
and that was the thing. Like when I would help him when he threw the first pitch at the Cubs game in like 2006, I was helping him get ready. We're playing catch in the backyard. He couldn't feel his fingers.
That's crazy.
So he would have to just get a release point and know when to release it because his fingers were totally numb.
That
he was like,
sucks.
So much nerve damage.
That's
He's like,
shitty.
So yeah, shitty for me. The first 10 throws were fucking 85 miles an hour and had
high.
One at the ground, one at my head, one at my fucking knee. He had no idea where the thing was going until he found a release point, and then exact same spot every time he could hit it. It was great. It was weird.
So he figured it out, but this fuck can't.
This fuck can't figure it out.
Yeah.
But he said, quote, Brien Taylor, not Rod, quote, sometimes I get the ball across the plate. Sometimes I feel like I've never held a ball in my life. So he's just trying to get it back together. This is for the Gulf Coast Yankees. He just not a great year. He has a 6.08 ERA in 40 innings, an ERA of 6, and they just want him to get throwing and not hurt himself. Really,
because he's got to defend the honor of his brother
in a trailer park. It's so fucking stupid. He said, quote, for a year I felt really terrible. This is the year, but after a while I just kind of let it leave my mind. I know what kind of person I am. I can only look at it. I can only look at it like it was meant to happen. There's guys out there every day that do a lot worse things than I do. So I don't know what, he's such a weird, everything he says is sort of cryptic and strange. 1996, he plays for Greensboro. They're in single A, Greensboro Bats. I remember their hats. They have like a bat on them. They're kind of cool.
A green hat, probably.
I don't remember.
A green bat?
I don't think it's a green. I don't remember now. I just remember what it looked like, sort of. Anyway, he's 0-5 that year, so it doesn't matter. His ERA is 18.73.
What?
18.73.
Holy shit.
Which is obscene.
What happened?
In 16.1 innings.
That's
so
terrible.
It fucking fell apart for him. It really did. He has 11 strikeouts and 43 walks, which is the other way around isn't bad.
Right.
But 11 fucking strikeouts and 43 walks.
That's zero control.
He is hot garbage right now in Greensboro. And the team sucked too. They were 57 and 85. Now, 1997 in Greensboro still, Billy Connors, who's a longtime Yankee pitching kind of guru, said, quote, he's still young. There was a time when he was right there. He isn't a sure thing now, but he still has a chance. He's still young enough to put it back together. So there's still hope. They're like, some guys have pieced it back together.
It's true.
After an injury, if you can do it. But the thing is, who the fuck knows?
Yeah.
I wouldn't know what to do here.
Don't look at me.
One setback, I'm done. I swear to God. If I have laryngitis for fucking 15 minutes, the show's over. I'm done. I'm not working my way back. I'm going, I can't talk anymore. I'm sorry.
I'm not doing this through a bloody sock.
No, it's over. It's fucking over. So who knows? He said that everybody asked him the same question. They all asked him about his, frustration and what the fuck. How do you feel about being so close and just fucking it all up? Like, that's got to be terrible.
How's it feel to be really good and then the next day not at all?
Yeah, how's it feel for everyone to think you're a fucking idiot? What do you think of that? Is that a weird thing? Just everyone on earth?
How does it feel to be defending the honor of somebody you're never going to fuck?
Literally.
And have zero interest in. How does that feel? And then get injured and ruin everything in your life because of it.
We're talking the New York Times says this about you, not just everybody around the bar. It's on the New York Times. This guy's a fucking moron. How does that? That's got to be weird.
Defended the honor of a man who.
Yeah. Jesus Christ. They said that at this point, when asked, do you dwell on, that he would interrupt quickly and complete the thought. He would say, what could have been? I think barring injuries, you have to think back to what kind of numbers I could have put up, how devastating I could have been, how dominant I could have been, what could have happened. He says, quote, but I really have to put it behind me. It's happened and it's done, so I can't live like that and put it in my head. I should have done this, or I should have done that, or I would have been the man, or I would have been a 20-game winner. winner because it didn't happen. It's over with. It could have happened, but if you've got to look at where you are right now and you've got to go from there. So he's like, leave me the fuck alone.
Yeah,
okay, I know. I could have been a 20 game. Right. I should be a superstar. I get it. Thanks.
He knows every interview he accepts, he thinks it's going to be positive, and then they come in with these questions, and he can just finish them all.
Yeah, that's what he does. And he's so mad. I'm not to mention this is the 97 season, which the year before the Yankees won the World Series. So he could have been a part of that.
He could have had a
By all rights, he should have been a part of that. In 97, they lost, and then they won 3 in a row. So he should have been right. He should have had Andy Pettit's spot in the dynasty, basically.
It's as if they sat down with him and were like, "Are you a piece of? Am I a piece of shit?
Am I a piece of shit? Yeah, I'm a piece of shit. You like that? Yeah. Do you get in fights in trailer parks? Yeah, I get in fights in trailer parks. I don't give a fuck if it's 11:30 at night. I'll knock on a motherfucker's door. I'll tell him to come outside. If a goddamn guy gets in a full Nelson, I'll throw a fucking punch at him. What do I look like here? Huh? A fucking punk? Shit, no. I'm a #1 draft pick, motherfucker." And he drives down Brien Taylor Way. Fucking idiot.
How depressing. This is fucking incredible.
It is. So
I can't believe. I would give anything to be as talented as he was at anything.
Everybody fucking would. Who wouldn't? Who wouldn't to have that much potential? Fuck, man.
They have Olympics for people that can bag groceries. You know what I mean? And there's a winner of that. I'd love to be that good at something.
Effortlessly throwing 100 miles an hour at a target accurately. That's incredible.
Instead throws a punch at somebody in a trailer.
Knocking seagulls out of the sky with a fucking potato.
Ridiculous.
Which, by the way, I think is a more incredible skill than pitching well.
I agree.
I would rather watch someone do that on television.
All day.
If there's
ESPN Ocho, get
animal people fucking relax about the seagulls. Fuck seagulls, okay? Have you been to the ocean? There's enough of them to go around. We can knock a few out with potatoes.
Disgusting.
Yeah, if you go to the beach, even if you're an animal lover and there's a guy with potatoes that could hit him, you'd be like, throw those fucking potatoes. I know. Just do it. I don't care anymore. These fucking things are shit all over me.
Until you see one eat a diaper, I want to hear nothing out of you. It's disgusting.
Off your child's ass.
It's the most vile creature on earth.
So 97, he's Greensboro again. He goes 1-4 this year. Yeah. Jesus Christ. 1-4, throws 27 innings, which is not great. 20 strikeouts, 52 walks, and a 14.33 ERA. 52 walks, only 20 strikeouts.
Oh, my God.
52 walks in 27 innings. So he's averaging almost 2 walks an inning. And less than 1 strikeout.
Averaging.
Not good.
Oh, my God. If he keeps it together for 2 innings, that means the next inning he's walking 6?
Well, that creates a 14.33 ERA.
Oh, boy.
So that is not great at all.
I could do those numbers. Oh, I'm pretty sure of it.
Yeah, get hit constantly and walk everybody. Yeah. I could walk everyone you throw in front of me.
Fuck yeah.
I could do that easy. I could never throw a strike. Absolutely. I'd be the best at it.
I could easily turn those numbers.
I could be the champion of the world of not throwing strikes.
Arizona Diamondbacks give me $1.5 million. I will duplicate those numbers.
We've already put feelers out to the Suns because we could just draw them a little bit of a crowd. And here we're actually saying we'll put up numbers for you. So sign us, Diamondbacks. We're looking for a local team to sign us. We could use a few extra bucks. Patreon.com/Crime and Sports so we don't have to embarrass ourselves as professional athletes.
Unbelievable.
So 1998, Greensboro, again, he is 0-1 this season. He only throws 25.1 innings pitched, again, and 26 walks. So he's 1 walk an inning. At least he got it down a little bit. 17 strikeouts, but his ERA is 9.59.
Oh, God.
So that is hurting right now.
That's better ERA than I'll average. But.
Oh, yeah, definitely. They're going to light me up. Maybe not, though. Well, actually, I'll just walk and run. So, yeah, it's going to be ugly. That's earned. I'm going to be fucked. So fucked.
It's going to get gross.
Man, so bad. So the team is 70-72. Not that matters because they're shit.
Yeah.
And at the end of the 98 season, by the way, 98 season was the 98 Yankees, who are one of the top 5 teams in the history of the fucking world. They just mowed everybody. They were so great. He could have been a huge part of that. And instead, the Yankees release him at the end of the season. So he went from #1 draft pick, the savior of the Yankees, to but take a fucking
7 years.
There's the fucking door, dude.
Wow.
Have a good one. Hope you enjoy your $1.55 million because that's all you're ever going to fucking get. It's all you're ever going to get. So 99 season, he doesn't really play. He's signed by Seattle briefly, the Mariners. Their assistant for player development, Greg Hunter, said, quote, We just didn't see what we wanted to see. He showed some arm strength, but just no consistency.
Ouch.
And they release him in spring training. So he can't even make the minors for Seattle. This is bad stuff now. This is bad stuff. 2000, he signs with the Indians farm system. The Indians sign him to a minor league deal, which he's excited just to catch on somewhere. He's playing A ball for them, single A, the Columbus Red Sticks, and that is with 2 X's. STIXX.
What is
the
this,
Red Sticks?
Porn suit?
I feel like it's like some local fucking ice cream shop, and they just bought we're the Red Sticks because that's the name of the. I don't know. It's fucking awful.
The ice cream place is called Sticks.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
And they were the Red Sox. They were probably the Red Sox before that. Oh, that's probably what it was. They were an affiliate of the Red Sox, and they were the Red Sox, and they changed them to the Red Sticks when they went to the Indians.
Or maybe it was a Redskins thing, and they caved to the PC shit.
Who knows? Either that or the owner just loves Twizzlers. And he's like, you know what? I can't name them the Twizzlers. I don't have the right shit. All right, well, call them the Red Sticks. Double X, baby, because I fuck those things.
And we will make 2 licorice sticks fucking make the X's.
Boom. You know it. On that team, Victor Martinez and Johnny Peralta, 2 future very good players here. So 2000, he plays for this team for Columbus, of the Columbus Red Sticks here, of the whatever the fuck, who cares league. He goes 0-0, only throws 2.2 innings that year.
Gives up as a reliever?
Gives up 5 hits and 11 runs in that time, so it really doesn't matter. 8 of those runs earned 9 walks in 2.2 innings.
That's
9
enough
walks.
of this shit.
2 strikeouts and a 27 ERA in that short window. And the Columbus Red Sticks and Cleveland Indians as a whole release him.
Of course.
He is done. It's not good. The Indians say about him, quote, "We're getting to a point where we don't have extended spring training anymore, and we don't have 2 or 3 innings to devote to a lightning in a bottle situation. Brien has progressed tremendously since last fall, but it's a little stagnated, a little late. The opportunity to put him in non-pressure situations are done. We're at a point where it's just time. Brien's worked hard. Our coaches have worked hard with him. It's frustrating. It's sad." So the last thing that baseball says about you is it's sad.
It's sad.
It was the last. So
he got a Trump tweet for his final goodbye from
sad. Sad.
And how about the natural progression of like the step down in society from New York, biggest city, biggest stage, to Seattle, pretty great place.
Not bad,
pretty
good place, nice place.
Fucking Cleveland is where you die.
That's where and Columbus is where they bury you.
Unbelievable.
Columbus is where they fucking
cremate
burn
you.
the body. Yeah, that's where they incinerate your fucking corpse. Which explains
that is
why,
amazing.
Which explains why Columbus smells like the burning dead. Just kidding. But everyone in Columbus, if you don't smell like the burning dead, come over to Cincinnati and see our live show.
Ohio. Over at Bogart's.
Yes, it's our live show with Small Town Murder. Yes. So don't be like, where is it? I can't find the crime in sports. So Taylor says he was surprised he was cut. He didn't understand it. He says, quote, "It just didn't work out. There was no spot for me. I was improving, but I guess it wasn't quick enough, and that's just the way it is."
27 ERA, bud.
That's it. You have 9 walks in 2 innings. You can't do that.
No.
He says he plans to return to North Carolina to figure out what to do next with his life. He says he doesn't know what to do, but he's going home.
Yeah.
So as we know,
that's
not going to be good at all.
Yeah.
Now, he is one of the only, why I said I know that only one other person has been so highly touted. There is only one other player who is a number 1 overall draft pick in Major League Baseball who has never played in the majors. One other player in the history of the draft system.
Who is
a guy named Steve Chilcott. He was a catcher selected by the Mets with the first overall pick in the 1966 draft when they passed over Reggie Jackson to get to pick a fucking catcher who never made it to the majors.
How much does that fucking scout hate himself?
Dumb son of a bitches.
Wowza.
They were like, I don't know, he's kind of flashy. And they were like, yeah, we'll take this Chilcott guy. He's really got it together.
Sounds great.
Yeah. So Brien, on the other hand, moves to Raleigh.
Mr. October. Well, it's fucking April.
Well, it's April now. So we're picking Chilcott. Thank you. Well, it's June when they pick, but still.
Whatever.
He moves to Raleigh, North Carolina, moves back sort of home. He returns there. He has no more money left.
Yeah.
He's fucking broke as shit. Career over, broke as shit. He has to take odd jobs.
Oh, God.
Sometimes he goes on with his father to do bricklaying work if they need an extra hand that day. He tries to support his family because he has 4 daughters at this point also. He'll have 5. He'll have another one here in the next couple of years. 4 from one relationship and 1 from another. So
1 from somebody when the other one finally gives up on his dummies.
Yeah, exactly. He had a long term there, and he works briefly as a UPS package handler in the Raleigh area, and he also had a stint working for a beer distributor. So not terrific at this time. He had a lot of relationships. Like we said, he was moving between women, and he had a bunch of kids, and he also had a shitload of speeding tickets. He had one for doing 91 miles an hour in a 45 in March of 2003.
Well, he had a delivery due.
Which isn't, well, yeah, that's what I mean. It is UPS. Yeah. Can you imagine that? The fucking breeze coming in that open door must have been a bastard for him. Maybe it was just hot. He was trying to cool his balls down. He's like, man, it's hot. There's no AC in this fucking truck.
My cigarette lighter doesn't work. That fan doesn't work.
Shit, sorry, can't help you. He was near his first daughter at this point, who was from a previous relationship, and he lived with the 4 daughters he had from his relationship at the time. So he had an old relationship, and then he was with somebody now. Betty says, quote, his mother, quote, when it was over, it was over.
You betcha.
Hard. It was over hard. But the father said, quote, that's right. He's had some tough times and some happy times, then some more tough times. So I love this father. I want to hang out with his parents. They sound
Betty
awesome.
Said he was acting like it was over. Because it was.
Because it was. I want to take them out to dinner. They seem like they'd be fucking awesome.
Oh, my God.
They would be so much fun.
Are they still alive and still together? I want them both.
I don't know about that. So,
I want them both at my dinner table.
That would be amazing.
At a Sizzler where they have crab.
Willie?
Yeah.
Betty, we want to take you to dinner. You probably will hate us for what we're saying about your son, and you probably are dead already. But if you're not, we love you and we want to spend time with you.
You're amazing fucking people, and I can't wait to meet you.
I would say so.
And I want to smell your hands.
Oh, yeah. I want to smell if they still smell like crab 40 years later. So Brien moves back to Beaufort or Beaufort or whatever the fuck it is after his relationship with the woman he has 4 kids with ends.
Okay.
So now he's got 5 at-large daughters out there, and he needs to work because he's got to pay child support for these daughters. It's crazy. So he ends up taking a job as a bricklayer with his dad.
Oh, no.
Right back where his dad is. His dad says, quote, I've been doing it for 40 years now, so I like it. But for a man like him, it ain't a lot of excitement. I guess not.
No.
If you were supposed to be the ace of the Yankee staff, and now you're fucking apprentice bricklayer number 3 who gets fucking
dad.
Sandwiches at lunch, you're the guy who has to go get coffee. Like, that sucks. His mother says, though, quote, he seems to like it back here. Well, I don't know. I mean, I can't say for sure. What I do know is this is who he is.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't know if he likes it, but kind of tough shit.
I think that was the first time she said something, and then she was like, no,
maybe
that's not true.
Yeah, I think I fucked that one up. He seems to like it back here. Well, I don't know. I mean, I can't say for sure. What I do know, this is who he is.
Right.
So this is fucking weird here. Also, there's his daughters there during this. This is like 2004. They catch up with him, kind of a reporter does, and catches up with his family. And I guess his daughter says that his little daughters are there. He's got a 6-year-old and an 8-year-old, and they're saying that he's going out tonight. And so his daughter says, quote, he'll be home at 3. And the mother says, how do you know that? The grandmother, Betty. And the daughter says, because we stay up when he's playing pool and he gets home at 3.
Oh, boy.
So he's going to be up until, so real good dad there. Leaving him home. His daughter's there. She's nodding like, yes, that's right. So January of 2005, this is a shocker. In Wake Forest, North Carolina, police charged Taylor with misdemeanor child abuse for allegedly leaving 4 of his children ranging in ages from 2 to 11 alone for more than 8 hours.
What is he doing?
He's out playing pool. He doesn't get home till 3 in the fucking morning.
Oh,
Jesus Christ, Jimmy, open your fucking ears.
What is he doing?
Open your goddamn ears.
You're not allowed to do that.
Apparently, he thinks it's fine.
Oh, boy.
This is fine. Fighting a man at a trailer park for shit that has nothing to do with you
ages 2 to 11
is not a bad decision. 2 to 11.
He's leaving an 11-year-old
in charge of a 2-year-old.
Yeah.
No, that's like the John Mulaney fucking joke. That's like leaving a dog with a horse. It's a slightly bigger child. That's all it is.
Granted, it makes a great Super Bowl commercial, but
no bullshit. So this is according to law enforcement here. Taylor said he was out shooting pool and he thought the children were with their mother. How do you think your 2-year-old might be with so-and-so? I've always known where my 2-year-old was when I had a 2-year-old at all times. All fucking times.
Never lost track of her.
You could wake me up, be like, where's your 2-year-old? And I could tell you, with his grandmother, over here, in the bed. Like, I'll tell you, I knew. So Taylor didn't understand what the big fucking deal is.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't fucking know. Who cares? He never shows up for his court date, and he ends up with 4 outstanding warrants for his arrest.
4 of them.
4 warrants that the police kind of chase him around for a couple of months here. In 2006, there's an article on him, and this is after the arrests, and they talk about that now he lays bricks. He earns $909 a month. A month. This is in 2006, Jimmy. This isn't in 1991. This isn't in 1971. This is $1,200, well, really $11,000 a year.
Oh my God.
To fucking lay bricks in 2006.
Oh Jesus.
So this is insane. You went from being one,
and that's the only job he's got.
I think this is besides, like, obviously if you're in prison or something, or homeless like Darrell alums or something. This is as far down as you could get from that.
$1.5 million.
And hey, it's honest fucking work. And if you're laying bricks out there, salute, more fucking power to you. But I guarantee you, none of you were the number 1 overall draft pick by the fucking major leagues and given $1.5 million for your phenom left arm that was favorably compared to Randy Johnson. Let's just say that. So don't give me shit. It's
true.
Yeah, blue collar's fine. It's great to lay bricks.
It's
but
great. You're
it's fucking
a hard
great.
worker.
Yeah,
but if you're making
out.
$11,000 a year, maybe pick up a second job.
I would say so.
That's
but
fucking crazy.
You're probably too goddamn tired at the end of that day to do anything else. So they said he has 5 daughters. He lives his mom said he prefers to live his life and not answer any questions. Who the fuck would want to answer questions about this? She said when he finds out a reporter's calling, he hangs up immediately.
Yeah.
Betty says, quote, "We're out of the public eye now." She says this to a reporter doing an article. Our lives are private, and that's the way we like it, except for now when I'm talking to you.
Right.
They say Brien, drives around. He's got a 5.0 Mustang that he bought in the mid-'90s. That he
still has it.
That was hot shit in the mid-'90s. That was like
Yankee on the license plate.
Yeah, that was the Menace to Society car. That shit was hot shit. Yeah. He has that, but he still drives it in 2006. Jesus. It's black. They say they eat, him and his father stop at the Piggly Wiggly for breakfast before work and get a $1.89 omelet. At night, he shoots pool at some bar in downtown Beaufort that has a $1.50 drafts.
$1.89 omelet in 2006.
Yeah. The only place that should have that is a terrible off-the-strip casino in Vegas.
Ugh.
And you still shouldn't eat that.
God, that's disgusting.
That's what they're eating before they lay bricks all day in the hot, humid North Carolina sun. And at night he hangs out and drinks $1.50 draft beers out of I'm sure beer lines that haven't been cleaned in 20 years.
Yeah.
So good for him there.
Out of the same cup that they used to scramble the eggs for his omelet.
That same shit.
So
yeah,
gross.
We'll pour it right in there. His friends say he quote, seems content enough. I don't know what that means, and that he doesn't devour himself with regret, which he should be.
What do you mean? By the fact that he lives every day?
I guess so.
Just because he doesn't have the balls to kill himself doesn't mean he doesn't want to.
No, and then yeah, he should. He wants to die. He's like Olivia Soprano. He walks around going, "I wish the Lord would take me. I wish the Lord would take me. Oh, Lord, take me now."
He
I feel
walks
like all
around
day
with so much fucking just embarrassment.
Yeah. If he drops his keys on the ground, he just goes, "Fucking kill me now." Just to bend down, like, you motherfucker. Anything that goes slightly awry, he's just like I wish a sniper would put a fucking bullet between my eyes right now.
A $1.89 omelet is just eggs, by the way. There's no cheese. There's no meat. That's just some
poor quality eggs.
Yeah, they're just folded over each other.
Yep.
That's disgusting.
There's a guy who grew up in Beaufort here named LeVar Fisher, who he played with the Saints and Cardinals. He was a linebacker for briefly. Mm-hmm. He said he grew up worshiping Taylor from his hometown. He was the only guy who ever did anything from his hometown. And he said, quote, "What happened to him changed my whole perspective. He worked his whole life to get drafted, and one incident took it away." So at least maybe it was a cautionary tale for someone to see that.
It's a rookie symposium story at minimum.
Now, Ron Wilson, who, by the way, is in prison on and off and all this type of shit, he says that he ran into Taylor in 2006. Uh-huh. He ran into him, the guy he had a fight with that ruined his entire life. He said he ran into him at a strip club. Which
how does he have money to be in a strip club?
How do any of these people have money to be in? How is this guy off parole?
Can you imagine that strip club if a dude with $11,000 a year can get in there?
Stinking, fucking nasty. No AC,
scars all over everybody.
Just no AC. The balls smelling there. Dudes coming off the fucking work site straight there. No shower.
The women look like
the women coming in off the work site straight there. No shower.
They look like the fucking the freaks from Total Recall.
Yeah.
the people underground.
Yeah, no shit. So, fuck. He said no hard feelings between him and Taylor.
None.
He said they hugged, and Wilson told him that how sorry he was about the whole incident, and Taylor told him, quote, "I don't blame you for any of that," which he's stupid and he should blame himself.
Yeah.
He really should, especially since the guy said, "I don't want to fight you. Leave me alone." He insisted.
Can I buy you a drink in a dirty glass and a lap dance from a woman with deformities?
Yeah, how about that? I can offer you that, but only one because I'm pretty broke. Only one of those lap dances. Now, this guy, they talked to him. He's in prison, the Wilson, and he says, quote, "I see Brien sometimes. I think about where he is and where he could have been, and I think that everything that happened to him is my fault." And he said he starts crying to this reporter. He feels so bad about it.
Really?
This Wilson guy. Now, he shouldn't feel that bad because that was all his fault up till now. Maybe, arguably his fault.
Sure.
But what happens on March 1st, 2012 has nothing to do with Wilson. This is all Brien Taylor. He can blame anybody he wants for all of his past, but he can't blame anybody for being arrested by the Carteret County Sheriff's Department, saying that undercover narcotics detectives and also those of the Moorhead City Police Department had purchased a, quote, large quantity of cocaine and crack cocaine from Brien Taylor over the last several months.
That's how he's feeding his kids.
Since October.
Yeah.
They said Taylor is charged with 2 counts each of trafficking cocaine by possession, trafficking cocaine by sale, trafficking cocaine by delivery, trafficking cocaine by manufacture, and trafficking cocaine by transport. And a felony maintaining a vehicle for trafficking.
Wow.
So like he keeps a special vehicle that's good for trafficking.
He built some racks in the fucking trunk.
He put some shocks in it like cocaine cowboys.
So he is manufacturing it also.
Yeah, he's also charged with 1 count each of possession with intent to manufacture, sell, and deliver cocaine and deliver blah, blah, blah. So
the number one traffic.
Yes, he's got so many fucking charges. He allegedly sold undercover officers 39.6 grams of cocaine to a Carteret County Sheriff's officer, and this was the third of 3 controlled buys where Brien Taylor sold cocaine to law enforcement officers. He was also responsible for distributing at least 208 grams of cocaine base and about 100 grams of cocaine powder.
Wow.
So he's selling rock, he's selling powder. 300 grams is a fuckload.
That's a lot.
That's 10 ounces. That's over 10 ounces.
That's not a party.
That's a shitload. He's trafficking cocaine.
So here's the thing. Toe Nash was dumb as fuck in terms of book smarts.
Yeah. He was stupid.
This guy is maybe the dumbest person we've covered.
Oh my God.
The mistakes that he's made are so fucking stupid.
This is a joyous throwing away. This is like he took his potential in his hand like a basketball, ran up and 360-degree fucking dunked it into the fucking garbage.
And
that's what he did.
Dunked it into a vat of gasoline, threw a match at it, and then turned his back to it and pissed rather than putting it out.
Attempted to piss it out, but it already got out of control.
He is a fucking idiot.
He's a fucking moron. So according to the testimony here, he first started dealing drugs in 2003 and 2004 when he first came back there, then tried to be honest for a while, and then in 2011 started dealing drugs again. The U.S. Attorney's Office said that, because now federal government steps in here too, said that Taylor was responsible for distributing the 208 and the 100. They were the ones that had that. He's placed in the county jail under a $275,000 bond.
I'm furious.
Which he does not have.
No.
He's who the fuck wouldn't be furious?
I'm so mad at him.
Dude, he's such a fuck up that people who he like, okay, normally you have to go to some people.
Yeah.
People are so mad they go to him. That's how fucking crazy this is. Like literally while he's in jail here for $275,000 bond and 300 grams of cocaine he's in jail for all this, somebody bursts into his cell and it's the shawarma man. And he says, "How is it you come to arrive here? Why are you here? Why you come? You come? Why? I tell you something. Yeah. No. I never tell no one this before, ever. Shawarma man used to be very good pitcher. I was good pitcher. I tell you, I throw ball like nobody else. Throw ball so hard. But one day I cut lamb, chopped pinky finger off, and could no longer could throw slider for accuracy. And I am fucked now. But you have no reason. Why you do this? Why? I ask you. I don't understand why you do this to yourself. You do this. I run business, and also, by the way, if you still have cocaine connections, well, I mean, I'm sorry. Shawarma man used to have problem. I know. I understand. But no, I'm done. I'm done with that. See, I know. But you very, very bad person. I'm very upset with you, and I know make for you. You go. Oh no, I go. You in jail. I go. That's okay. Okay, bye. Goodbye. I go now. I go. Sign say closed. I mean, goodbye. And Brien Taylor, poof, in a puff of lamb and tzatziki, he's gone. And Brien Taylor has never been more confused in his life,
which is surprising because he seems confused about fucking everything.
That's what's really weird.
He is
somehow he still is. So he's indicted on these charges June 5th, 2012. These are federal indictments now on these because of the amount. Deal. Oh, this is a big deal. He's represented by the Federal Public Defender's Office, which isn't much better than the state.
You tell me $11,000 doesn't buy a great lawyer.
You would think he'd have the dream team for this. You'd think Johnny Cochran would rise from the dead to represent him at this point.
Somebody say $11,000. I'm in.
No, I'm in. Oh, you can't have all the $11,000. That's all I have. I'll give you like $300.
So
I was going to spend that at the strip club.
To live for the next year. Me and these 5 girls.
So all 5 of them. Yeah, $2,000 a piece. So he.
How the fuck do you live on $2,000 a piece?
Jesus Christ, I have no idea.
How do you pool that and be like, we'll be fine?
All pool it to the same trailer. I guess if you don't have a house payment or whatever, I have no idea.
Surely not paying babysitter fees.
No. So he's indicted on all these charges. In August, with all this overwhelming evidence, he ends up getting a plea deal. He pleads to distributing just more than 28 grams of cocaine. That's what they give him.
Which is
that's an ounce. That's more than an ounce of coke.
Is that a felony still? It is,
right? It is, but it's because under would be a certain thing, and then it's over an ounce is this, but it's not like a trafficking thing. It's just distributing, not trafficking, which is a lower thing here. November 1st, 2012, Brien tells District Court Judge Louise Flanagan during sentencing that he's sorry for causing so much pain to his daughters. He says, quote, "I've made poor decisions. I just want to say that I'm sorry for all the harm I've caused to individuals and their families. I'm sorry to my children for letting them down."
Yeah.
So he's very, very sorry. The judge who sentences him here, Flanagan, said, quote, "He seemed completely unprepared for a life after baseball, which he was confronted with almost immediately. You were viewed by many in your community as a hero because of your baseball career. A hero dealing drugs is a very dangerous person. You, sir, may fuck off.
Yeah.
38 months in prison.
Oh.
He gets for that.
I thought you were going to say 38 years.
No, he could have gotten a lot more than that. He was facing up to 40 years in prison.
Yeah.
So this isn't bad. 38 months for distribution. He'll also have to serve 3 years of supervised release after he's done. But the judge said he will not fine Brien, or she will not fine Brien because of his family's financial situation. Yeah. And he knows that just fucks his kids.
He's got no money.
He's got no money to fine him for.
Anyway.
Yeah, he's $150,000 fine for lay bricks for the rest of your life.
That's actually kind of a stand-up judge because fining him is just going to put him into a situation where he needs to go back to selling drugs.
Exactly. And I think brilliant. He said it actually is. Problem here is
first time that I've ever heard of a judge doing the
being
right
smart.
thing.
I think maybe the federal judges they're usually wicked. The federal judges too.
Vicious.
The problem is he's not eligible for parole under federal law, so he's got to serve the full 3.
Ouch.
The most he can get is 15% taken off with good behavior. He can build that up over time, but there's no parole system.
Did he get any time served? Did 36 months start
time
from
plus time served, which was I believe from March, so it was 5 months time served. So he's going to do. He's probably going to go to. He's probably going to end up going for 2 years to federal prison.
Right.
He's being held in a county facility while they figured out where to put him.
And that's in 2012?
Yeah, that's in 2012. Thomas Walker, a U.S. attorney for the Eastern District of North Carolina, said, quote, "This is a tragic story. All too often our professional athletes spiral into criminal activity after an athletic disappointment or injury. I think all of us hope that Mr. Taylor, like many others who have gone down this road, will put their activities behind them and move to a better place in their life, and thus is crime in sports." That should be our iTunes description.
Pipe down, sir. You're going to get more people making podcasts like this.
Jesus H. Christ. That should be this. This is a tragic story. All too often. That should totally be on our thing.
You should say that every week.
Like we really should. That should be our opening.
Where you do that this week on Small Town.
It should be like the Twilight Zone thing. Like
we got to get him saying the
Twilight Zone,
and then just fucking stitch it into every episode.
That would be amazing. You know what? I'm going to say this is a tragic story. All too often, professional athletes spiral into criminal activity after athletic disappointment or injury. That's going to be
It's like the beginning of Cops.
Yeah. These are their stories. It's like Law and Order. That's what we're going to hear. That's what it is. That's our new opening.
It is. It's Law and Order.
It's Law and Order. That's our new opening. Fucking beautiful. You don't think I'm going to do that? Give me a goddamn break.
Can we get fucking executive producer Dick Wolf to read that shit?
So this is a fucking mess. Yeah. Betty's fucked now. Now Betty and Willie have to take care of fucking 4 kids that he's got there, pay for all these people. I have never been angrier at a fucking athlete that I wanted to be good because it hurt me personally, damn, and all the Yankee fans, the Yankees, their first goddamn draft pick since God knows when. Every kid who grows up in this town who worships him and thinks he's hot shit, I feel bad, Jimmy, for all of these goddamn people, but not nearly as bad as I feel for Brien Taylor. And these are the spellings correctly and everything.
Way.
This isn't, I could have gotten 46 trillion Brien. I could have picked anybody I want. This is Brien Taylor's, I found.
Okay.
Brien Taylor, auction director at Aradar Galleries in New York City. He's a fine art guy.
Auctioneer.
Lots of education, knows all sorts of shit about art.
Not a bull auctioneer.
Not a bull auctioneer.
I love those guys.
Also, I found, this is the one I feel the worst for because it's not his son. Brien Taylor Jr.
No way.
Brien Taylor Jr.
Is it the auctioneer's son?
No, definitely not. I don't think that auctioneer guy would have made an athletic child, especially one that's 6'2", 230 pounds.
Wow.
The Cy Falls football team in Houston, Texas, that high school. He is in the class of 2020.
Okay.
So the kid's 15 years old or 16 years old now.
You come see us at the House of Blues in
Houston.
Houston.
You should come see us in Houston and show us you're not that Brien Taylor. Now, back in his hometown, everybody just is disappointed with him over and over. The Beaufort mayor, Richard Stanley, told the news, quote, "Unfortunately, he got hurt defending his brother and threw his career away, and apparently with that, his life.
Yeah.
It's extremely regretful. We're all saddened by what a mess he's made of his life. You see what promise he had and what a future, and how young people, talented young people, can destroy their ability to use their God-given talent. It's totally unfortunate."
No,
which is so sad.
It's a correct statement.
He's a fuck up.
He
could have just been like, that dude's a fuck up, man. Fuck that guy.
That guy's a fucking idiot.
He's a fucking idiot. Now, George Michael has no opinion on this guy, I promise you. But Gene Michael, the Yankees ex-GM, said, quote, "If Brien didn't get hurt, we would have been very proud, very, very proud of that pick. He got injured by a mistake that he made, a silly mistake in my opinion, but he did it. It's done. You can't turn down the clock, or can't turn back the clock."
Yeah.
Derek Jeter says about him, quote, "We were roommates in spring training in 1994. He was a good dude. He was a nice guy, sort of shy, from North Carolina. Sometimes one thing goes right, one thing goes wrong, and it can change the course of his career. Unfortunately for him and for us as well, he got hurt."
Yeah.
So he knew about him. And finally, Fay Vincent was the MLB commissioner. He said, quote, dickbag. "Brien Taylor was widely regarded as a terrific prospect, but how can you factor in the likelihood of injury? These kids hurt themselves and they disappear very quickly. Taylor was a very sad case. I've always felt very sorry for him." That's such a silver-haired statement there. These kids hurt themselves and we use them and throw them away like used tissues on a daily basis. Fuck these kids. We send them right back to the trailer park. No problem. Oh, by the way, I feel very sorry for him. Fuck you, dude. Keep your faux fucking empathy to yourself, dickhead.
Just because I hate how perfect Derek Jeter is, at least we found a flaw in this story, that he surrounds himself with drug traffickers.
That's true. It's true. He lived with a drug trafficker. He was assigned that, but still, that's not his fault. He lived with a drug trafficker.
I hate how perfect that son of a bitch is.
So, yeah, he's had a pretty charmed life.
God damn it.
Can't get enough of Brien Taylor. I don't know how we all couldn't get enough of Brien Taylor. Pretty much the only thing you can get up from him is baseball cards, and There's a trillion of them. Amazon has a 1992 top stadium club, #1 draft picks, $1.25 plus $3.99 shipping.
Oh my God.
Ridiculous. Somehow nobody's written a book about this guy, which is insane.
This story is fucking ridiculous.
Well, because he doesn't talk to anybody.
Really?
He has not made outside of that quote he gave to the federal judge who was sentencing him for drug distribution. He has not talked to anybody publicly since 2005.
It's embarrassing.
So he's embarrassed. He doesn't want to do it. So there's not a book. There should be a fucking movie about this.
Absolutely.
This guy should be a feature film. I don't know how this isn't a feature film.
Well, the problem is that, like The Blind Side, there's a happy ending.
Yeah, no, there's no happy ending here. This is a cautionary tale.
Yeah.
But you know what you could have? You could have that linebacker or whatever. You could have a fictional character who ends up being a professional athlete that uses his shit that could be your happy ending. It's fucking bullshit screenwriting. Just pick bullshit and fill in the fucking action beats. 20 minutes is your plot point. Bop, bop, bop. Screenplays suck. That's why movies suck. By the way, we'll be making movies. So, no, I'm just kidding. Well, maybe not. Who knows?
Who knows?
We'll see what's going on. We write lots of stuff.
Whoever makes money for us, we'll do it.
We'll do it. God damn it. We'll goddamn do it.
Buy me a house.
That is Brien Taylor, everybody.
Wow.
Sad fucking tale, as we know, just an awful tale of sadness. You gotta hate him because it's just like you had the world by the balls.
That's what it is.
And you didn't want it. You threw it out your car window as you drove down the highway.
Joyfully, James.
Don't get like a rolled up fucking Snickers wrapper. Just
laughing maniacally. Isn't that hilarious?
I love to litter. Woo! Fucking chuck that shit out.
My trunk is packed with cocaine.
Yes, cocaine. So that is Brien Taylor. If you like that story, please get on Apple Podcasts there, the little purple app or whatever, iTunes, whatever they want to call it now. Give us 5 stars. Tell us you're following instructions or following directions. It doesn't matter. It's not for our ego. No. If you want to be an even bigger superstar, lots of ways to do that. First of all, you should follow us on social media at Crime and Sports on Twitter and Facebook, at Small Town Murder on Instagram, which we post crime and sports shit on there too. Definitely appreciate you. You can find us there or go to shutupandgivememurder.com where you can find the links to those social media sites. You can buy all of our merchandise, cups, mugs, shirts, bath mats, you name it. You can get that all there. You can buy tickets to our upcoming live shows all over the country. We have a shitload of them for Small Town Murder. And also there are links to donate to the show, which is so fucking important, and we appreciate it so much. Those links will take you to patreon.com/crimeinsports and also over to PayPal, where you can make a one-time donation using our email address, which you should know by now is crimeinsports@gmail.com.
Also,
most certainly.
We are experimenting with the merch ideas, so we're going to be changing some of that stuff.
Yeah, that'll be changing.
There's going to be
it'll all be through our website.
We got some really cool ideas coming up.
There's some cool shit for merch. So buckle in. Buckle up for merch. Get your Christmas list ready because you're going to want a bunch of these shirts.
Cool stuff is coming.
A lot of cool stuff, but never mind all of that shit. Never mind that cool stuff, because there's nothing cooler than the goddamn people that keep our lights on, keep us in business, and make us love them so much. Hit us with the list, Jimmy.
Executive producers this week are Chrissy Ann Castaldi, Iris Stritch. I don't think I'm pronouncing that right. She's so nice. And she's been around.
Is really cool.
She's fantastic. No, it's Strigg.
Strigg?
She's Canadian.
Strigg?
I think
Canadian.
I
don't think that matters.
No,
I don't think that means anything.
You got a good point.
Oh, she's Venezuelan? Well, that means it's much different. But Canadian's probably pretty close.
I think it's Iris or Eris. I'm not sure.
Yeah, either
she's
way. Thank you. You're awesome.
Thank you so
we appreciate
much.
You.
Tiffany Robertson, Katie Heisel. She's the one that makes the those maps and stuff for Small Town Murder. She's terrific.
Yeah.
Tiffany Robertson is fucking
Yeah,
unbelievably kind. She's
Tiffany,
so sweet
we
to us.
dig
Thank
you so much. Thank you. We can't wait to see you at the live shows again. Thank you so much
and
for everything you do for us.
thinking about your husband. Thank you.
Yes, definitely. Both of you guys. You too.
Gretchen Quist and Barbara Johnson. Thank you guys so much for helping every goddamn week and every month. Thank you guys. You're amazing. Happy birthday, Travis Saunders in Utah, the one that came down to the Phoenix show.
Yeah, cool.
Talia,
I
forget her last name. Her boyfriend wanted to say happy birthday. I don't know how old she fucking is. 26 maybe, I think. I don't know.
I don't know.
I heard he likes blowies on your birthday. That's what I've heard.
Who doesn't?
And then Amanda Preble is turning, I don't remember, but her sister fucking wanted us to say happy birthday. So
happy
you guys,
birthday.
Thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
And then the guys over at the Loki and Jabroni podcast, thank you guys very much. Aaron Hammond, Nikella Stafford, Kirby Dotson, Justin Inwood, Martina Kunkel, Craig McGeechan, James Lear, James Fraker, Matt Dietrich, Stephanie Wheeler, Heather Faller, Mariah Menhier over there in Dutchland.
Yes.
I don't fucking fuck?
The Netherlands?
What is it? That's it. I'll never absorb that.
Yeah.
As long as I live. I don't know what happened to me, but I can't fucking absorb
you call
things.
her that Swedish girl.
I will one day. One day that'll happen. Heather Fowler, I said that. Melody Lee, she or Lay, Lay.
Thank you.
She donated both to Patreon and then PayPal.
Thank you so much. That means the world. We appreciate the hell out of that.
Christy Brown, Kristen Hensley, Julia King, Katie Gwynn, Marshall Walker, Ted Cyrus again, Lisa Coltrane, thank you very much. Lauren Demarath, she's up there in fucking Chicago. That's where she's at.
Hey.
Savannah Brien or Bryant. I don't know. Stephanie Agoa, Natural Sciences. I forgot what that is. Somebody told me, and now I've blown it. Kim Hodgkiss,
now I've gone and blown it.
Kim Hodgkiss, Graham Luber, Kieran Gold or Good. I think it's Good. Is that an O or an L? God, it's an L. It's gold. It definitely is. Stephanie Ahern, Rachel Cascaden, Kate Ives, Hannah Simmons, Bryant Toole, Megan Farrelly, Iron Tree Craftworks. I'm not sure what it is, but it's, I imagine, amazing. I imagine they make iron shit. Cat Power, Ashley Vio, who she wrote something in one of the Facebook groups that was fucking amazing. And then
she's cool as hell
about how tough life is. Yet she still donates to us. You're a fucking sweetheart for that first.
Thank you.
But secondly, fill up your gas tank.
Take care of yourself.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Take care of yourself, please.
Amanda McKelvey, Shannon Russell, Emma Cossin, Jake Lebeer, Amy Panella, Kate Myers, MG Trading. I think that's true. Don Doyle, Cody Hargo, Tyler Williford, Zach Cornell, Stacy Langto. Thank you so much. JC Hartman every fucking week. Ingrid Stock with the North Korea Bucks again. Tamisha Dorico, James Price, Nicole Vennard, and actually I think Ingrid actually sent us American money this time.
Wow, thank you.
Michelle Rogers, Heather Every, I think that's Every, yeah. Indiana, this is where I saw a bunch of names, and this is where it gets dicey. Indiana Quillen, Eliza Gramling, Eliza. That's not so hard.
No,
what am I doing?
That's easy.
Whitney Booza, Heather Newton, she's up in Virginia. Thank you, Heather. Jen McCall, Rachel Moore, Linda. Oh my fuck. James. OEHMKCE? No, MCKE. Nope. That's not a word. Is that a word? Omac?
That sounds like it sounds like a word, but it would be like what the ancient people called something. You know?
Trees or paper?
Yeah, they called it Omic. And you'd be like, oh, right. Wow, that's pretty cool.
Linda Grush.
Thank you. Well, we love you. I don't give a shit. Your name is awesome to us.
Devin Reznikoff, Julia Bellman. Julia Bellman Koval. That's it. And then Melody Lee. She's the one that donated twice.
Yes, thank you.
Simon Lee, Jody Digasari, Thomas Gallagher. Fuck. Farida Kenny.
No.
And Jorgen. Jork. No.
Pardon?
How did I get saddled with this? Anna Gorsk. Rachel Hatton, Katie McKee, Lisa Heaven, or Heaven, Candace Corticos, Pickle Bean, Stephanie Smeichel, who sent us an amazing email about what she does for work and what we do for her. And Stephanie, it was the fucking greatest thing
was really cool.
I've ever
I
read
that. That made me feel really good. Thank you.
You're a poet, and you're fucking amazing.
You made
with
us
words.
feel like slightly less pieces of shit than we normally do.
Jeremy Pendleton, Ruth Layla Stephenson, Michael Boraccio, Boraccio. Cassidy Marsh, Mark Skeen, Mara Spencieri, Misty Beganat, Alex Eldridge, Charlotte Karuba, Stephanie Simon, Sam Nackman, Miranda Reinhardt, Emma Costin. She donated twice. I didn't realize that until just right now. Joanna Rosas, who's over in San Diego, I believe. Jeremy Norton, Braylon Guerrero. God damn it. Braylon Guerrero. She's here locally. She's fucking amazing. Thank you, Braylon.
Thank you.
Rachel Gregory, Courtney Norris, Cody McCall, Robbie Mochel, Tara Bendig, Monique Con Gwyn. It's the fucking Asian Gwyn. I know how to do that.
You got that.
God damn it. Jason Lasconis, Joshua Schaefer, Tin Man Mac Daddy. I can knock that one out of the park all day.
Easy.
Corey Emerson, Wynema Van Zant, Sarah Penka Penkathman.
Okay.
Sarah Penkathman. Yes.
Thank you, Sarah.
Yeah. Mark Tacchino, Patricia Palmer, Dawn Haxton, and Marissa R., Joel Freeberg, Danielle Graham, and River O'Brien. You guys week the list gets longer and longer, and I can't thank you guys enough.
Thank you, folks, so much.
You really do it.
It is so goddamn appreciated. Every cent you give us means the world to us. You guys keep this show going and keep it a viable enterprise for us, while other people bend us over basically a pool table and fuck us like Brien Taylor fucked his career. Right. So that said, Jimmy, how could these people bend you over and fuck you like Brien Taylor's career? Where could they reach you?
You can find me at
I got to do it different every time. I just want to I'm going for a surprise. I don't know.
You can find me at Wisman Sucks, WHISMAN Sucks on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat. And if you follow, I think it comes with a free jar of Vaseline.
Oh, yes, it does.
Or KY or something. Some sort of lubricant, because you're going to need that lubricant to be able to go and spell James's name. Where are you at?
Well, you're going to have to also wait in line because there'll be several other people fucking us in the ass ahead of you. So when they're done with it, you jump in there, and if you want to hit me up,
you may not need
everyone else is done
by then, because it may just be dripping out.
You could just stick your leg up there and be fine by then. That's how badly we're getting reamed. So
Christ.
You can find me at Jimmy P is funny, or just copy and paste my last name from the show description, because otherwise you'll spell it incorrectly.
Right.
That is us. That is the show. That's Brien Taylor. Thank you guys so much for joining us. And live from the Crime and Sports Studios, we will see you next week.
Bye.
If you like crime and sports, you can listen early and ad-free now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts. Prime members can listen early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Before you go, tell us about yourself by filling out a short survey at Wondery.com/survey.
In the 1980s, a rosé swept the country.
Hey, Mike, I really like this white Zinfandel.
Well, good. Now put it down. We're going to try another one.
White Zin became America's top-selling wine. But most don't know that this sweet drink has a sour history. What began in 1986 with counterfeit bottles,
a big fraud, a multi-million-dollar fraud,
sent investigators chasing one of the most powerful families in the business, the Licciardis. But the closer the feds got to them, the more dangerous things became. It's a story of deceit.
At the time, I was paranoid.
Threats.
You touch my kids, I will kill you.
And murder.
With a .22 caliber bullet to the head.
What started with a scheme to mislabel wine spilled into a blood-soaked battle for succession. Welcome to Bloodvines. You can binge listen to Bloodvines exclusively and ad-free on Wondery Plus. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify.